intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
I mean, won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday night, and that means it's show night. We are broadcasting on the Fringe FM. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and D-Live. Reading the chat and taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show tonight, at any time, pick up the old school telephone and dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. One more time, 702-957-1037. If you want to be part of the show and don't like the long distance charges, there's a newfangled thing called Discord, and we're rolling on that. The youngsters use it to play video games. Us old-timers will use it to do talk shows. Go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. You can find the Discord invite link right there on top, right next to the phone number. So if you want to be part of the show, just go straight to the website, troubledminds.org. Phone number is right there. Discord is right there. And just let me know. We'll get you on the show. Easy as that. We don't screen calls. All I ask is that you be polite to me and I'll be polite to you. And we'll have a great conversation, I hope. We've had lots of smart people call this show in the past. And it really does make the show go, because otherwise I sit here kind of like I make fun of myself as a substitute teacher, giving you some information and talking about some other maybe possible links to why this is conspiracy, or maybe not, as the case may be, because of course this is a conspiracy show. This is one of those shows where we talk about all the things we are not allowed to talk about. And of course that includes conspiracy, that includes the paranormal, and includes aliens, of course, and the existence of alien life and what the science says and what other people believe, with that whole bizarre conundrum with, let's say, cattle mutilations and with people being abducted, like Travis Walton, things like this. So all of that really kind of falls under in the purview of this show, which is good. It's a kind of a wide berth. We get to talk about a lot of things, and it's not just Bigfoot every night, though. From time to time, we do talk about Bigfoot. So anyway, as we kind of get into the topic tonight, that's what this show's really about. It's about kind of detaching your brain from like the propaganda news media and kind of letting our imaginations run a little bit. And as Ash and I like to say, he's the co-host on Wednesday nights, Ash the Reptilian from Mars. What's up, buddy, if you're out there? He liked to say, drinking the maybe juice. And so that's what we do on this show. We take a little time off from the real world, try and leave one foot in that real world, but we drink a little bit of the maybe juice. And that's what the show is really about. So tonight, with all of the maybe juice talk, we're talking about, so in the past, in the past couple weeks, we've talked about all kinds of things on this show. And one of them, namely, was Robert Bigelow. And if everybody remembers him, he's the UFO magnate that spent time doing all kinds of things with Bigelow Aerospace. He worked with MUFON. He's funded all kinds of different UFO type situations around the world, basically. And he owned Skinwalker Ranch before the new owner. So we talked about Bigelow a little bit there, actually quite a lot on that show. And we're only going to touch on him just a bit tonight, because the way this show kind of interconnects with that show and Robert Bigelow is he was handing out $1 million prize for the secrets to consciousness, right? Because he sort of wanted to live forever. And so he's looking for how to take consciousness and transfer it to something else, right? Those secrets of consciousness, and he was giving out $1 million. They're having like an essay prize and all the rest of this, right? So the way this show kind of intersects with that show is we're talking about living forever tonight, again, except this isn't about transferring consciousness at all. Tonight, we're talking about, I guess you could say, using the human body as sort of like an old car. And, if an alternator goes, or, your lungs, you just 3D print a new set and slap it in there just like an old jalopy, and bam, it's like a race car again, right? Like that's what's on deck tonight. There's a thing called transhumanism, and it's not what you think. It's not the stuff that's in the media all the time. It's not that. It's not the division tactics that the media tries to make us hate each other and all the rest of those things with sexuality questions and labeling people and this or the other things. It's nothing to do with that. All right. So just so we're clear, transhumanism is completely different than that. So let's actually look at what transhumanism is, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Again, if you guys want to be part of the show at any point, one more time, if you just dial the phone number, pick up the old school phone. 702-957-1037. That is a Las Vegas area code where we're streaming from. And you could also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link right on top. And also, if you're using Discord, also join the fringe.fm chat. There's it's the same program, Discord. It's just a different chat room with the Fringe, which is where we're broadcasting a digital radio station as well. Go to fringe.fm/chat, and that will invite you directly to that Discord as well. All right, so let's go to this. Now, this is from, interestingly, transhumanism is one of those things that kind of started in the 90s, right? It's relatively new, and it's really about, just like I said, kind of taking, to put it crudely, taking, I don't know, just parts of people as they become, as the laws of thermodynamics kick in and entropy, and we end up becoming dead, right? That's what happens to people when they live too long and parts stop working, and unfortunately, we all live, if we're lucky, and all of us die. And that's really what this is about. Instead of that death portion, is there a way here where we can somehow be able to, through technology, defeat death, to actually conquer death from a human perspective? Yeah, that's what transhumanism is about and where it's headed. And again, here we go. So I see you guys in the chat. I'll say hi in just a little bit, so hang tight and I'll come say hello. I appreciate all the chat guys. Keep on typing away. I'll read the comments as they're relevant and say hi if I missed you. But okay, let's read this. What is transhumanism? This is from the website whatistranshumanism.org, right? And so this is one of those movements, and it's an academic movement, okay? And it's a futurist movement, and it's one of those things that's a little bit terrifying for a number of reasons, right? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So here we go. This is the definition of what they say transhumanism is. And so transhumanism is a way of thinking about the future that is based on the premise that the human species in its current form does not represent the end of our development, but rather a comparatively early phase. Transhumanism is a loosely defined movement that has developed gradually over the past 2 decades. And this is from Max Moore in 1990. This is a quote. He said this: "Transhumanism is a class of philosophies of life that seek the continuation and acceleration of the evolution of intelligent life beyond its current human form and human limitations by means of science and technology, guided by life-promoting principles and values." Sure sounds like a great plug, right? Again, you get individuals that are interested in this type of thing, and they sure make it sound sweet, don't they? So sweet. Well, we'll get to maybe the dark side of some of this as we talk about this tonight. So again, the question tonight is this: transhumanism. Is this something we should look forward to, or is this something that will cause more problems than it will fix? I can think of a number of things where this might be an issue, which we'll talk about tonight. But, as always, you guys know what I think for the most part. I tell you a lot. I'm on a microphone a lot, and it's okay. But I'd love to hear what you think about these things, and that's why we do it live, 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord and be part of the show that way. But we have a phone call. Let's go straight to this phone call, and this is Timothy. So Tim from Georgia actually was a co-host of the show. He's a longtime friend of the show, Troubled Minds, and I finally got him to co-host, and he came on Thursday, and we talked about this particular incident with a UFO that shot over an airliner, okay? So I don't have that information pulled up, but we just did that show on Thursday. If you guys want information about that, if you haven't seen it, go to our YouTube. You can find an archive there. But let's go to Tim, and we'll talk about some latest updates with this the story we talked about on Thursday. What's up, Tim? How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike. From what I can see about that airliner, I dropped a link in the Facebook chat that has to do with military exercises for EMP, and one of the things they simulate is the GPS being down on weapon systems and things like that. And so those systems have to go to a secondary navigation method, and it could be just an accident involving, because the location the aircraft was flying over is a well-traveled corridor for military testing in that part of the country. On the transhumanism, I try to get everybody to go watch. You can watch it usually free on YouTube. It's a movie called Metropolis. It was made in the 1920s. It was made in Germany by a very unique filmmaker. It is the first movie to introduce transhumanism to the world. Metropolis was banned in most countries right after it was released. France and Germany were two of the only countries that would show the film. It was banned in the United States after a short showing in, I think, 10 states. They banned it from the country because you have to sit down and watch it. Seeing is believing. In it is a silent film, but I suggest everybody watch it. It's the first movie that you're going to see anything like what we're talking about. True science fiction, because in the movie, the woman who is the object of the wealthy guy's attention, and she's a regular person. She's like, a plebe. She's from the bowels of the city. Well, she dies. What do? Transform her consciousness into a robot. And that is done in the movie, and that was made in the early 20s. And most people don't even know it exists. But if you want to get a start in transhumanism, I tell everybody to start there with that movie, watch the whole film, and then look up the documentary that was made about it, about the people who were behind it, because those same people are the people that helped become the Nazis, and the eugenics programs of the 20s and 30s were partially behind the making of that movie. And so it is important today. It is the start of transhumanism and the introduction of it to the world, because it's those people and their descendants today that are pushing transhumanism through these mega pharmaceutical and media companies and tech media companies, and you can follow who these people are, who's really behind it and who represents it.
Yeah, it is terrifying when you look and kind of trace some of these things back to where they came from. There's a lot of philosophy that was very sympathetic to 1930s Germany, and and that type of eugenics type of thing, which is again horrifying. And we'll talk about some of that tonight with how this transhumanism is possibly a link to that in some cases. But yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at that, it is. I'm horrified at some of the philosophers I get linked. I go start digging into some of the things they've said, and they were sympathetic and said very nice things about that individual from Germany in the 1930s. I won't say his name because, well, but it just scary to me. Scary to me. Okay, so can you just verify one more time on this now regarding that UFO? So we did this show on Thursday with Tim here, and there was this UFO that looked like a cruise missile. They said. I actually just cleared the clip. Right? Damn! I just pulled it out of the soundboard. If I knew you were going to call, I would have left it in. We could have played the clip again. But that's all right. But go back to that show on Thursday. You can see exactly what we're talking about. So you're saying there was some sort of EMP test for this upcoming FEMA exercise based on this article here that you linked?
What they call failure navigation exercise, like simulate that a piece of equipment stopped working, in this case the GPS guidance system for aircraft, weapon systems like cruise missiles. They're pinpoint accurate because of GPS, but they also, most of these systems, since their inception back in the 50s and 60s, have a second and a third way to navigate, even if the satellite systems go down. And they work by different methods. I don't want to get into that too much, but I guess they're testing to see where we would stand if we were hit with a major EMP, and then see what would happen to our planes, our equipment, our communications. How well would our military withstand that impact? And then I think included in this is I call it the Texas scenario, because Texas, what just happened there with the weather was a good an example of what an EMP would actually cause, minus the snow and the cold temperatures. You would have the same thing. You would have widespread power outages or sporadic power, and you would have a loss of sewer and water systems, just like you've seen with Texas. And, there's some speculation about the hardcore weather that we just seen, whether that was manipulated or not. Several different weather experts and gurus out there on YouTube and some of the other channels give a lot of food for thought. And if you read different publications by Raytheon and some of these other aerospace companies that are out there, they've been doing a lot of testing out west, out in the Midwest. They've been doing a lot of cruise missile testing, testing hypersonic missiles. You could go to their YouTube channel and watch all their latest gadgets and a lot of their testing. And you will be very surprised by what you see being tested, and then hear some of the descriptions of, probably the last 6 months. A lot, like we were talking about last time, a lot of these reports, you sift through them and you say, okay, half of them are probably more than likely this, and I think this may be the case with this one, and maybe why the FBI was involved too, to say, hey, no comment on this, because they know that it's an accident and part of a military exercise, and really there's nothing anybody can do about it. Just thank God that it didn't hit the aircraft full of people. But accidents happen all the time. They just usually don't make mainstream media, Yeah,
exactly. I think it's interesting. So you're kind of implying that if we go back to the past, that the government has tested things on the population, right? On let's say we're saying a commercial aircraft at this point. But I mean, like I've even speculated that the Tic Tac incident, the Nimitz incident, the UFOs, that was some sort of government test on our David Fravor and the guys that were out there flying the planes. Was it F-15s, I believe, at the time. But I mean, people say, it would be irresponsible. There's no way, the government would ever test these things on our own military, let alone a civilian population. But I'm not so sold on that, because there's lots of incidents in history where that's the case. I mean, you look at like the stuff that happened, the nuclear tests in the 50s, north of Las Vegas, where downwind was St. George, Utah. And there's people there with like a huge spike in cancer because of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't buy like a blanket, well, the government wouldn't do that. I don't know, because they have a pretty horrible track record of doing things very similar. So so I don't know. So maybe let's put that file it under maybe for now, just because we can't verify with any certainty. But it's definitely worth thinking about and talking about. I hadn't seen that. The prep for the EMP with the FEMA exercise. So interesting stuff, my man. I did see that you started, or you put a link up for your podcast that's coming. You want to plug that while we got you on the phone?
Yeah, Station Head. If you have Apple Music, you can get the Station Head app. It's a free app, and it works in conjunction with Apple Music. And Tinfoil Timothy radio show on there. More than welcome to come and join if you have Apple Music. Station Head, there's a live chat room while you can listen to the different people and the shows that are offered on there, and you can interact, be a part of the show. You can donate, subscribe. There's no video, so that is one thing that's unique about Station Head, is it's geared more towards the radio and podcast crowd. So if you're not concerned and you're mostly a listener that likes to chat a little bit, it could be something worth checking out for you.
Right on.
And,
so we've got a
broadcast show as well.
Yeah, perfect. We've got a link to that from the last show. I will also put it in the YouTube description after we're done with this show. So if you want to follow Tim here, this is Tim from Georgia, Tinfoil Timothy University, as I call him, from his YouTube channel. Smart guy, lots of great information. He's got a podcast rolling out. I'll have the link, and you guys can follow him. Final thought on, we got about, let's say, a minute and a half before we got to take a break here. So just your final thought on transhumanism. What kind of quick problems do you foresee in the near future with this?
Well, I see transhumanism becoming part of it will happen. Part of it will happen. Human beings will use computer chips to control robotics in space and in high threat and in high hazard environment areas. That will happen. Elon Musk and his people are working on that right now. The only way we're ever going to mine asteroids or do anything worthwhile in space is to have human beings manipulating robots, because artificial intelligence, we are so far off of programming something that can go do the job of a human being. You can make them do simplified and specific tasks in a work regimen, but they don't have the freedom of thought that a human being has. And so, but what's the next best thing? A human operator here on Earth that would never have to leave and through telemetry, or sitting in a space station, operate whatever needs to be done. And that's where this is headed. That's the part of transhumanism I think that will happen, because there's some brick roads that involve DNA, RNA, and there are some brick roads there. I tell everybody this: until we can create a flagellum, look up what a flagellum is and understand it's the most sophisticated thing ever created in the history, because all life depends on the flagellum. Till we can create that, you're never going to transfer consciousness from one body to anything else. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
You have to learn to crawl before you can walk.
Amen. Amen to that, brother. Hey, we got to go. Tim, you're the best. Tinfoil Timothy University, guys. Follow him. I'll have the link. I'll actually find it and drop it in the chat in just a sec. I appreciate the call. Have a great night, my friend.
Yeah, man. You too.
Thanks a lot. All right, so we are talking about transhumanism tonight. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. That was Tim there. Tinfoil Timothy University. He was our co-host on Thursday night, a longtime friend of the show. We are just hanging out, doing our thing tonight. We're talking transhumanism. Hold tight. We'll be right back. More on the way. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about transhumanism. And what that is replacing parts of your body with mechanical things. We're talking about cyborgs. We're talking about people living forever based on replacing flesh with machines. If you want to be part of the show tonight, give us a call, 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. The show's live. We're broadcasting on the Fringe FM, streaming on Facebook, DLive, and YouTube, and looking to have a conversation with you. What have you heard about transhumanism? Is it a good thing? Or is it something quite a bit different? And that's what's on deck tonight. That's what we're doing. So as we start, thanks again, Tim, for the call. I appreciate that. We'll get into the definition here and some more of these transhumanist thoughts. And again, it's a most recent philosophy, right? Though Tim said there's a silent movie that goes back, Metropolis, I believe he said, that goes back to 1920, and they were talking about this exact thing then. So what does that mean, and what is that? If they were that far ahead in 1920, actually looking to the future, it terrifies me a little bit to think that it's possible these things may have been achieved in secret, and now we're playing catch up, right? And I think I cite this movie from time to time as an example of this. But what was that Matt Damon movie with basically the rich people go live in orbit off of the dirty Earth because the dirty Earth is what is that movie? But anyway, and so the Elysium, I believe that's what it's called. But so in similar instance, right? So think of it this way. If you have a transhuman society where, of course, we have two different distinct, I guess you couldn't call them anything other than breeds of people, right? You have organic people, and then you have people that are part cyborg, right? Yeah, whether it's eye implants or whether it's they've had their limbs replaced with these mechanical arms and legs to make them run super fast. So suddenly they're like something from the X-Men or like the Incredible Hulk, just based on replacing technology, replacing the frail human parts that we have, right? Like a Colossus from X-Men with the titanium skin, right? Like that sort of thing is kind of what we're looking at. And if that's the case, and you can do that, and you can, because the frailty of people is what? Our bones, right? Our minds, as we get older, our mind starts to slip. We get with the plaque in our brain, they say. You know what I mean? There's a lot of these things that can be mitigated in some cases by technology. And that's what we're talking about tonight. That's what's on deck, and we're wondering, the question of the night is this. If you could live forever, and not in the transfer your consciousness into like an R2-D2 ashtray type of way, not like that type of live forever, but you're basically giving up parts of your body, parts of your physical body, to parts of in exchange for parts of a mechanical body. All right, in some capacity, whatever that technology seems to be, and I'll tell you what inspired this show. I got a couple articles that are recent here that we'll talk about in just a sec. But that's the question for tonight. If you could live forever, or let's say relatively forever. I mean, because forever is, that's a really big word. But let's say that, based on a human lifetime, you could suddenly extend your life to 1,000 years or 10,000 years or something like this. If you had to give up parts of your body to become more and more robotic, is that something you would do? Is that something that you think people should endeavor towards? Or do you think that this is the devil? For lack of a better term here, is this bad? Is this yeah. Anyway, so here we go. Now it started with this, right? As many of you know, that we do a news show. And on the news show, the last couple days, I talked about this particular article here. And let's do this. Let's pull this up. Now, it seems pretty innocuous the way this starts. Let me find it real quick. Phone number's up if you guys love to hear your take on this stuff. But it was just basically a patch, right? It was just a patch, like a... Let me find it. Where's this article? Too many articles. So Gatorade came up with this patch. All right, it's like a it's not built into your body or any of the rest of this, but it's a patch that sits on your body, and it will tell you when you need to drink more Gatorade. Right? Now that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Because it kind of is. It kind of is. Here's the link. I'm going to drop it in. We talked about it briefly on the news show, but then it got me thinking, okay, well, we're going to have these, for lack of a better term, in this case, a biomechanical patch. All right. So it's just sits on your skin, and let's see. Here we go. We're waiting for this to come up. Link in the article. So the headline is this. This is from MSN.com, and Gatorade created a wearable patch that tells you how much Gatorade to drink. All right. Now, again, it seems silly, does it not? It seems a little bit silly, but it is a sort of a wearable device. All right. And so a wearable device, right? That term, it could be lots of things. It could be like a hearing aid, a wearable device could be, like a super powered glasses, like a Google Glass or things like this, right? Things that you could actually put on your body, and they're not part of your body just yet. But so that's kind of what started this idea, this brainworm in my head here. And I was like, wait a minute, all right. So we're talking about wearable patches of consumer grade variety that tell you when you should drink more Gatorade. Okay. And so what it does, like you put this, it's like this article is not loading, so I'm going to kill it, but I'll explain in brief. I don't know why this is not loading, but whatever. So the thing is this, I linked it if you guys want to check out the article yourselves. You put the patch on, and it has a particular piece of dye and chemicals in there. So when your sweat is a certain pH or needs more electrolytes, the patch itself will change a different color as it mixes the pH of your sweat with the dye that's put in there. Of course, it's a food grade dye. They say it's not harmful. They put it on your skin, and 2 of these things will cost you $25. I think it was something like that, right? So it seems simple. It's a patch you put on you to make sure you stay hydrated. I don't know, like to me it seems pH meter. There you go. But okay. It seems a little bit weird to me, all right? Because, it's like, it's almost prepping us for a future. I know it's like a commercial thing because it's made by a brand, and they want you to drink a particular sports energy drink or whatever it is, right? But if it starts there and you start putting these patches on to do simple things like, oh, by the way, you're thirsty now. You see what I'm saying here? It's like we're already setting up the future for a future where we can't even manage our own biochemistry through human responses. Meaning, well, I feel thirsty, and so I should get a drink. You see what I'm saying here? And it's a wearable device. This thing is not in particular wired into you. Okay. It's disposable. Again, 2 of them for $25, I believe the article said, but it's weird, right? It's a little bit weird. And then, yeah, right. Exactly. Tam Bam on Facebook says you need a patch to tell you you're thirsty and dehydrated. Exactly. Like you see. So you start to think, okay, now is this just people trying to, sell more gizmos, sell more garbage, because it seems like garbage to me. Exactly. Magdalena, what's up, says electrolytes. It's what plants crave. And anybody seen Idiocracy, you know exactly what that's about. But okay. So that's where this started. And then I was like, all right, hold on. So we need patches now to tell us when we're thirsty, to drink a particular sports drink. What's next? Well, and we won't know we're hungry, right? So we need a patch to tell us when to eat this particular hamburger, right? Put out by this particular company. All right. It's weird. It's weird. Is it okay? And again, it's the beginning of this. It's not really transhumanism as it is. Okay, but there's more. There's more articles here. Hold on. Now, and then I started looking into what the now this has been well known actually that. It has been said, now this is from futurism.com, again, fantastic website. I'm going to link it and you guys can check it out. But it has been said that the person that will live to 1,000 years old has already been born, all right? And this was back in 2017. And this is from somebody named, they wrote the article Kyrie Leary. And aging expert says, The first person to live to 1,000 has already been born. Dr. Aubrey de Grey sees aging as a problem that can be solved through technological intervention. Technological intervention. Now that is transhumanism. But you see, right? If we're already starting with goofy patches that you can put on your body to tell you that you're thirsty based on your pH meter, based on your pH level of your sweat, saying you need more electrolytes, right? Again, idiocracy. A Gatorade, trying to water the plants with Gatorade. This is where we're at. So this is pretty interesting, right? So this is happening. They're saying that there's no way around this. This is exactly what's happening, and we can be young forever. So this is right from this article from Futurism.com, again from 2017. Read just a little bit of this, and as I stated, and what do you guys think about this? As always, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about this? So the question of tonight is this: if you were able to live, I don't know, like substantially extend your lifetime. Let's not say forever because that's a really, really big word. But let's say like to substantially extend it based on a human lifetime. That's the thing. Not 100 years, but say 1,000 years, or let's say 2,500 years. Let's say 10,000 years, something like this. How much of your physical body would you give up in the pursuit of that? And how much do you think you change as a result of chopping off limbs and swapping out organs and putting Neuralinks and attaching it to your brain and the rest of these things? How much of your humanity, your organic humanity, do you think you lose? Because I think it's a valid question, and just kind of curious what you guys think. But here we go. This is from that article, Futurism.com. Aging has plagued biological organisms since life first began on planet Earth, and it's an accepted and universally understood part of life. Sure, things like climate change pose significant threats to society, but aging will almost certainly still exist even if we ever manage to stop damaging our environment. That said, scientists aren't the kind of people who just live with the cards life has dealt them, and are especially likely to use their understanding of the world to solve difficult and seemingly impossible problems. Like aging. Dr. Aubrey de Grey is one such person. Through the co-founding of the SENS Research Foundation and his role as Chief Science Officer, de Grey has set out to end biological aging. The Foundation's About page makes it clear that de Grey believes a world free of age-related disease is possible. And speaking at a virtual futures event in London on Wednesday, again, this is from 2017, this part isn't recent, Inverse confirmed that de Grey truly believes in this goal, even going so far as to boldly state that the first person that will live to be 1,000 years old has already been born. He also thinks science will have found a way to perfect anti-aging treatments within the next 20 years. Well, time's a ticking. Time is a ticking. Scary stuff, right? And it's very much different than moving your consciousness into, like a cyborg. It's very different because you maintain the you part of you, except very much like Darth Vader chopping off Luke's hand and then Luke coming back with a mechanical hand, right? It doesn't seem like that would really change much about you, just swapping out a mechanical hand. You'd still be you. But what about all of your limbs? What about Neuralink plugged into your brain? What about you start swapping out your organs with these brand new synthetic, let's call them nanofiber or something to this degree of like kidneys and liver that doesn't decay. It can last 1,000 years before it starts to decay. Things like this, right? So at what point, when you start swapping out all these things in your body to live as long as you need to live, do you stop being human at all? I think that's the question. And is it scary? Or is it like, chill out, Michael Strange, chill out. This is where we're headed. This is the future. Embrace it, buddy. I mean, maybe. I can see that argument. But again, what do you guys think? 702-957-1037. How much of your body would you give up to live longer? And substantially longer, not just a few more years or whatever. And do you think at some point there's a disconnect between the human condition and a experimental transhuman cyborg of sorts? I think that's the question here. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So, has the first person to live to 1,000 years old already been born? Dr. Aubrey de Grey believes so. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So, yeah, I mean, this stuff scares me a little bit. I'll admit it. Very much like transferring consciousness. Kind of like I said then, if they don't get your consciousness transference perfect, then you're not really you, are you? And so it's the same sort of thing. If you start chopping off body parts and becoming something else, at what point are you no longer yourself and you're more of a Frankenstein type situation, right? And at what point does it actually start to affect you? Because, we have the human condition is called such because we have, emotions. We have pain, right? We struggle. We have lots of things that make humans imperfect, and that condition itself really defines us. So if you start taking those conditions and removing them as obstacles, what happens to the human condition? Yeah. 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. Love to hear from you guys. But weird, right? It starts with a Gatorade patch that reminds you you're thirsty. And now we're talking about the first human that will live to 1,000 years old has already been born, according to one person who studies this and has a business or a research facility in some capacity where they're looking into these things, and that's the claim that was made. So I don't know if you can I don't know. Like I said, I'm not even sure that this stuff is possible at this point. I think at some point it's going to have to be, right? This stuff is going to have to be possible, and it brings some pretty large questions that we need to answer. And yeah, so here we go. Link in this stuff if you guys want to check it out. And what's up? Magdalena says, robots don't complain when they're building pyramids. Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. All right, so there's more of this. So this is from, this was, the aging expert says the first person to live to 1,000 has already been born, all right? So we're talking about transhumanism tonight and how much you would give up of your own physical body, swapping parts like an old car, and how much of it would you give up to live substantially longer? That's really the question tonight. But here we go. There's more. So there's some problems here. This is from Psychology Today, and this is New Age philosophy, right? This is people talking about this like it's going to be possible soon. And when you start thinking in those terms, and the kind of like I go to Michael Crichton from time to time because it's such a fantastic quote that we were so busy trying to do it, we didn't really consider whether we should, right? It was something that was a poor paraphrase, but that was from Jurassic Park and Michael Crichton. But here we go. Okay, so here's some problems with this. So I'm going to just throw out some initial problems from this article of Psychology Today. Love to hear from you guys instead, but like I said, I'll be the what would you call me? The bad substitute teacher, as it were, in lieu of you guys calling, and we'll talk about this instead. There are several problems with the pursuit of immortality, one of which is particularly obvious, this article says from Psychology Today. I linked it if you guys like to follow along. Make sure I read it properly. If we all live much, much longer, we will consume more resources and have more children, leading to even more overpopulation and environmental degradation. Of course, techno-optimists the world over have a ready answer for this: more technology. To quote Monktrick, quote, Malthus didn't understand that technology improves to an exponential rate. So even though unaided food production is arithmetic, the second agricultural revolution allowed us to feed more people by an order of magnitude. End that quote. And so, yes, and how do we explain that more people than ever are starving across the world, says this article here? Technology does not indefinitely improve exponentially. And of course, at some point or another, crash against the limits imposed by a finite world. We simply don't have the space, water, and other prime materials to feed a forever exponentially increasing population. Arguably, it is precisely technology that created the problem of overpopulation, as the original agricultural revolution, the one that happened a few thousand years ago, led to cycles of boom and bust and to the rapid spread of disease in crowded cities. This may be an acceptable trade-off, and it says, I certainly don't wish to go back to a hunter-gatherer society, but it does show that technology is not an unqualified good. And I think that's a good start here. Again, so this is an article from Psychology Today, written by Massimo Piglucci. And again, this is way back in 2009. So these are problems that we're going to have to deal with as people end up becoming more and more technologically intertwined with flesh and blood and machine. And really turning into cyborgs. I think that's the question here. And if it is a problem, and again, what do we do? Like if we have to feed people, we have to feed more people, people stop dying, do more people start starving? Or instead, here's the scary part, do we start slicing off chunks of society and reordering them based on whether they are part of this transhuman movement or not? Meaning, if you choose to live your life as a dirty organic, right, as a dirty, unwashed, part of the unwashed masses, are you afforded the same level of, I guess, freedom? I guess that would be the question. The same level of freedom and luxury as somebody that's transhuman. Considering, let's say, a transhuman person in the future could live to be, let's say, 2,500 years old, right? Let's just throw out a number. But you decide you don't want any part of that. And you decide you're not doing it. But what does that mean, right? Does that mean, okay, well, your lifespan's only going to be about 100, maybe 120 with better medical stuff, and you're not going to be able to live this long? And so what do they do as a result of this? And this is where we start getting into the terrifying dystopian part of the conversation, is it becomes a class-type society, where if you don't have the parts put into your body, that you're a lesser human being. You're a lesser individual of sorts. You see? It causes problems. This causes major problems. And again, kind of like Elysium, right? The rich people living in orbit, and in a clean environment with clean water and all the rest of that stuff. And everybody else with no resources, living on the dirty, polluted earth. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of questions here that need to be answered before we start making people live to be 1,000 years old. And don't get me wrong, I don't like people dying. I don't look forward to the notion. Not on my watch. But I'll tell you what, there are bigger problems here that I think we need to really address before we can actually create a transhuman society. That's what we're talking about tonight. You are listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, 702-957-1037. Love to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. Talking about a transhuman future. And what does that mean? TroubledMinds.org. Come join the conversation. Hang tight. We'll be right back. More after the break. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're talking about a transhuman future and what that means to you. As we're discussing, there are some problems with living forever. It seems like a nice, tidy way to live, quote, happily ever after. If if I can say it correctly. But it causes some issues, doesn't it? Without people dying, means you overpopulate the planet. All those people got to eat. And it's exponential. There's problems. There's definite problems here. And then again, what does it mean for humanity itself? Once you start replacing so many parts with bionics, implants, whatever else is going on, at what point do you cease to be human? That's what's on deck tonight. That's what we're talking about. Let's kill this music and go to this phone call. So we are live if you want to be part of the show tonight. Just like this individual, this is Beechwood that's on the line. We're going to go to him in just a second. If you guys want to queue up behind him, there's a phone number. You can call this number. We'll put you on the show. 702-957-1037. One more time, 702-957-1037. We are broadcasting on the Fringe FM. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive. And we're just doing our thing, hanging out, talking about all the things that give people a troubled mind. Let's go to Beechwood. Let's go to Beechwood in where is it? Beechwood in Massachusetts. You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you think about this craziness tonight? This transhuman business? And so I guess first, just tell me what you think about it.
I think I got a few different opinions on it. I mean, it's happening. We're technically like part cyborg now because we use a phone, like in our daily lives. But I think it's on the same lines with like human cloning too, which I totally think is possible. But it's hard to say would it actually be the same consciousness. But as far as like cyborg type stuff like neuro implants and replacement limbs and stuff like that, and I think it would be weaponized first. Unfortunately, I think we live in a world where that's what would happen. But living to be like 1,000, it's hard to say how the human consciousness would react to that because no one that we know of has actually done it yet. So it might actually be the point to where it's like a massive burden. You might just develop consciously where you're just so bored and you're almost trapped here. And then it could also be used as punishment, you know, a prison system. Imagine being able to transfer the consciousness into some type of electronic device and just leave it there for 1,000 years. It would be horrible.
That's a creepy point. Think about this. Even now, right? When we live in a world of people have one life, we're giving them in prison multiple life sentences. So what if we're keeping people alive to serve out their full multiple life sentences? That's a creepy thought, man.
Unfortunately, there is a part of human consciousness that thinks that way. You know, you see it all through history. You see it right now. But I think that type of technology is the only way that we're going to eventually travel through space, unless we find a way to do it like interdimensionally, like, you know, wormholes or jump portals or whatever they're called, stargates. But it would make more sense if you could send a robot that knew how to clone a human or a robot with human consciousness in it, because I mean, eventually the planet will die. It's just a natural thing. But
yeah.
I want to know more, like, obviously, if that happened, you'd have two different groups. You'd have a group that, you know, would say it's unnatural, they wouldn't want to do it. And then you'd have people all for it. But I want to know where, like, the gap is in our human evolution, like, where things become unnatural. Like, maybe that's just what we're supposed to do. Maybe we're programmed to do this. Like, so if it's like unnatural and we're playing God, where did that happen? You know, where's that jump? Where did we get that poison, that sickness to change that mentality? If it's not just part of our natural evolution.
Yeah, that's a good
like
question.
My question.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And again, right? I think in a future like this, I think there are people that will reject it, right? And we'll have like kind of like I said, the plebs or the unwashed, dirty masses of people that are like, no, I'm not doing that. And at what point does it become a requirement? So right now, of course, they're framing it as, well, this is going to be like Elon Musk says with Neuralink, this is going to be a voluntary thing, right? So what happens, just like it's China's social credit score, it's voluntary if you want to eat, right? Like you have to maintain competition with your comrades, right? With your fellow population. You see what I'm saying? So it's sure, fine. If you want to go live in the pig pen with the pigs, you don't have to do it at all. You can eat slop out of the bucket with them. But if you want to live a sophisticated life, well, you have to compete to get a job or whatever's going on in the future. I have no idea if that'll even work then. But you see, like I think that's where we start to have issues here, when you can't really line things up with requirement and voluntary, you see, and how things change over time. It scares me a little bit. I got to admit.
It's a massive amount of leverage that they have with that situation. But then, that could, maybe we could all be one consciousness, and it's just part of our evolution that some of us are supposed to leave and some of us are supposed to stay. But as far as living, I think if I could, maybe I'd live 200 years. But doing 1,000, like, I've just read books, like, I'm into hiking, and I was just reading a book about, these mountain climbers they were talking about that climb these mountains, and they finally do it, and then they fall into like this deep depression, and nothing makes them interested anymore. And they were talking about like a high suicide rate among these people but I'm talking like the stuff that few people in the world have climbed, so it's actually like a big accomplishment. And then they come back to society, and it's like, there's nothing, it's boring,
Right. There's no horizon, no bigger mountain to climb.
I think that happens to a lot of people. I don't think it happens to everybody, but I think it's definitely human nature, because when you're on top, it feels good. And most of the time when you're on top, the only place to go is down. Can't stay there forever.
There's a saying, speaking of going up and going down, on your way up, be nice to everybody, because you're also going to meet them again on the way down.
Yeah.
But
that's the truth.
But okay, so then how much of you would you give up? So okay, now let me actually, you made a fantastic point, and that people, we need there's a drive in us to do something, right? To get a message out, to to take care of the family, to whatever, right? Like everybody has their own motivations, and that's the beauty of being human, is that you're able, in some cases in the world today, let's say, you're able to kind of chase your own motivations. But when that changes, and you've ticked everything off of your bucket list after a couple 100 years, 300, 400, 500 years, I think you may be right. Like the thing turns, and it could be a not desirable thing anymore. I mean, like what you're okay. I've upgraded my legs to the the T2010 version, T2010 i7-6, and like weird. So you like shine yourself like a car, or you know what I mean? Like you roll yourself through the car wash, and weird, man, weird. Yeah, that's a great point.
But I mean, there's great things about it in the medical field. I mean, my grandfather had a pacemaker, and he had his put in way back, like in the 50s or 60s, things like a brick, because I guess the new ones are like credit cards. But I mean, if he didn't have that, he wouldn't have made it, because he had a bad heart and stuff. So I suppose, you know what, I can't make up my mind on that. If I'd want like a stronger hand or something, or I think I'd like maybe a good eyeball, like a hawk eye with like a laser beam. But I think we're happy, the way we are. And then also, we don't know how the perception of time would change too. If everybody started to live to 1,000 years, 1,000 years may turn into 100 years in the human brain. because that also happens too. Like if you isolate yourself for a long time and you get used to it, time does go by faster.
So yeah. No, and again, right? A lot here, and this is where we're headed. So you're correct with the pacemaker and how, like, just medically speaking, we're living longer anyway. Well, except for this past year, but the life expectancy actually went down for the first time in forever. But like as time continues, we will live longer and longer, and naturally is one thing, right? Kind of taking the human body to its end. Its actual physical, natural end is one thing. But then replacing, arms and legs and limbs and stuff, like you said, like maybe I want the laser beam in my eyes, well, what about bionic hearing? What about like bionic legs and arms? And suddenly you're like the X-Men. You're all the X-Men in one. Just seems weird, man. Seems weird. And then what are you doing? Like, not physical labor, really? I mean, like, what's going on? I don't know. I don't know.
But now also, I mean, with like the 5G and the tracking stuff, I mean, they got cameras in little kids' toys now, and that's now. So, I mean, I imagine they can track everything. I fish. They even have fish finders now that hook up to, like, they can track everything. So they see everything. It's crazy.
So it's like sonar, right? Or some sort of radar under the water?
Yeah, it has GPS. So it does hook up to a satellite, but you can link it to your phone now. So you can link it through, like, all the apps. How when you pull up a thing, every app, all the like buttons pop up and stuff. So if you ask me, anything that's hooked up to the phone is hooked up to, the grid. So it goes to the higher power.
Yeah, definitely.
So they know where I'm fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
They know what I'm using for bait. It's crazy.
It's great. It's great. China knows what you're fishing with. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, man, they know what kind of laundry detergent you use.
Exactly. All right, we got to keep rolling here. But okay, so you're on the fence. You're not even sure you will want to extend your life substantially, eh?
Not that way. I think there could be ways to, I don't want to say chemically, but if you could, make like a substance that slowed the aging process, I would be more interested in something like that than like machine type things. Obviously, if I lost my arm, I would want a machine arm, and I would be very grateful for it. But no, I think just the natural course of life is good for me. Plus, I think if you can comprehend the fact of never dying, it's scarier than dying. And that's just my take on it.
I agree. Seems like it to me. Seems like to me. I appreciate the call, my friend. Anything else while we got you on the phone?
How many beers could you drink in 1,000 years?
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, my goodness. You don't want to know, sir. That's an obscene number. I don't even want to speculate.
Oh, well, all right, my friend. I'll keep listening to the show, and I'll probably talk to you again soon.
All right. I appreciate the call. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts. You were the man. Thanks for the call tonight.
Later.
Thank you. You guys want to be part of the show? We're talking about transhumanism tonight, and that's the question. Thank you again, Beechwood, for the call. I appreciate it a lot. See what happens when you get people call. You get different things you didn't think of, right? And that's how a conversation going two ways is better than a one-way conversation. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, dial that same phone number, 702-957-1037. One more time, 702-957-1037. And we're talking about swapping body parts with mechanical bits to live substantially longer. And would you be interested in that? It's called transhumanism. And, of course, there are problems with resources if people start living substantially longer, right? We can't even feed everybody now in the whole world. Well, so we're told, unless you buy into the 1984 type of artificial scarcity. That we could if we really wanted to, but we don't care enough about it. So people starve, and the elite shrug their shoulders and whatever, right? But Beechwood there brought up a fantastic point, and I don't know. Let's take this to a little bit. This is a paranormal show after all. Also, as well as conspiracy and the rest of this. So let's take this to like a vampire. Has anybody read the Anne Rice novels, the Vampire Lestat and the Interview with the Vampire and all that? So just as an example here, this is something that she thought a lot about. And if you were, let's say, instead of able to live forever as a biomechanical thing, a monster, so to speak, you were, let's say just theoretically bit by a vampire. And in her world, that means that if you were, if it was done sufficiently by a powerful enough vampire, you could live forever. Now, she wrote extensively about this problem with the vampires themselves in her novels, and meaning that they had an issue with like a serious depression issue. Like all her vampires were just super emo because their human mind could not fathom eternity, even though some of the most powerful vampires were able to live forever. And so they couldn't stand it because they got to know people, and the people around them they learned to love and appreciate and protect. And then these people ended up dying. And there was this big thing with these vampires in the Anne Rice universe, which again, fantastic books if you guys haven't read that stuff. The Interview with the Vampire. The movies are trash, but the books are fantastic in my opinion. I just love the way she writes. She can describe a curtain for like 3 pages, and you're still like hooked. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. That skill is beyond me. I can write, but I can't write like that. It's pretty crazy. But I digress. Back to vampires in the Anne Rice world, and they were depressed because the world around them aged and decayed, and they were living outside of it in some manner because they could live forever. And so at some point, they would kind of just step out, and the depression would come, and they would go bury themselves in the ground somewhere and reemerge, let's say 100 years later, a couple hundred years later, because they just couldn't take it anymore. All the people around them, they loved dying, and the thought of eternity basically destroying their mind. So I wonder, right, which is a great point that Beechwood brought up, made me think of that same parallel, that if people were able to live as long as that in substantially greater terms, like Sherry said, we cease to be human. So I don't think the Anne Rice vampire is really too big of a stretch here, talking about transhumanism and the way this goes. But there you go. As you know, you guys know what I think. I'm here on the microphone all kinds of time during the week. I'd love to hear what you think. The question of tonight is transhumanism. How much of your body would you give up to a mechanical swap, basically? How much of your body would you give up to live substantially longer? And at what point do you think giving up parts of your body to mechanical replacements would change your humanity into something that is no longer human? That's the question tonight. Love to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. That's what's on deck. And that's what we're talking about, and that's what we're doing tonight. But yeah, tons of stuff to think about right now. Okay? So then let's go back to this Psychology Today article. If you guys aren't going to call, I'm going to call shame you, and I'm going to just read from this article. Check that out. I can be a jerk too. Here we go. So, the transhumanist, okay, so we read just recently here from this. I'm going to link this article again if you guys want to check it out. And this is philosophy. This is, should we do this? And should we pursue this? And then if we do, what happens? And do we have actual like a good plan for this? You know, kind of like somebody mentioned the Georgia Guidestones and some other stuff here. But you know, we can't feed everybody now, so they say. So what happens when everybody starts living to be, let's just say, 1,000 years? Like, there becomes a serious problem here. And again, the thing that terrifies me the most is not just the not being human anymore part, but then on top of that, the secondary and tertiary classes that come from the top, from the people that are actually running the joint, right? The elites. So you think you're going to have access to the same technology as the elites when it comes to this? Do you think that the brand new arms and legs or the Neuralink of the year 2500 is going to be completely accessible to everybody? Or do you think instead it's going to be a class-type system and cause more and more problems just like we have today? I think that's the question. Here we go. From this article from Psychology Today, the transhumanist optimist can't be stopped. Here is more from Monk Trick. Quote, one of the key goals of transhumanism is to get the most advanced and useful technology to developing countries, allowing them to skip industrialization and the pollution and waste associated, and go straight into late capitalist post-industrial society, where population growth is negative and mortality rates extremely low, he says. In that quote, besides the fact that the current global economic meltdown in a late capitalist society doesn't really sound that appealing, do we have any evidence that this is happening or even possible? The current examples of such transition come from countries like India, China, and Brazil, and those don't look at all encouraging, straight from this article again, as the results seem to be increasing economic disparity and massive amounts of additional pollution. How exactly are transhumanists planning on skipping industrialization? And it's a great question. And again, right, we're talking. This is definitely an issue. Like as people start to live longer, and what do we do with them? Do we send them to Mars to live with Elon, King Elon? Elon Musk? Who knows? I don't know. I don't have the answers here. I'm not the answer guy. I'm the questions guy. But if you guys want to be part of the show, we got one more segment left on the Fringe. We're going to take a quick break in just a minute here. But that's the question tonight. How much of you would you give up to live substantially longer? Meaning swap parts of your body, like internal parts, your heart, your lungs, whatever, your kidneys, your liver, every bit about you, right? Would you swap all of it all the way up to your neck? Right? If you could replace it all and be like a Colossus from the X-Men with the titanium body, would you do it if it meant you lived 1,000 years? And then in that case, at what point do you think you're no longer human? Yeah. Scary stuff. Interesting things to talk about and think about, as always. And why is nobody talking about these things? I think that's the part that drives me the most insane about all of this, is that this conversation really doesn't come up too often. And I think it's going to be, just like artificial intelligence, it's going to become a problem before people are discussing how to fix the problem it's becoming. You see? Yeah. That's the thing that drives me the most insane about all this stuff. It's like, come on, we got to look to the future. Stop with this political garbage of looking to the past and trying to legislate the past. We got a future that's coming full speed ahead, and we got to do something about it. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about a transhuman future, and we're talking about humans living for 1,000 or more years. Does it terrify you, or does it give you hope? Anybody seen Star Trek with the Borg? Yeah, well, maybe you'll be one of them. 702-957-1037. Hang tight. We will be right back taking your calls after the break.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Oops, sometimes you hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about transhumanism tonight. If you want to be part of the show, I'm looking to hear from you. Is living an extended life unnatural? So much that we could name it, as Bailey says in the chat, the mark of the beast. Eternity seems like a big word. But when you start talking about that in terms of life, human life, I think the stretch is large between here and there. And yeah, we're talking about tonight transhumanism, living forever by swapping out your body parts Neuralinks of the future, biomechanical legs and organs and everything else. How much of yourself would you give up to live for 1,000 years? Gonna go to this phone call. Again, you're listening to Troubled Minds on Michael Strange, 702-957-1037. And one more time, got one more segment here on the Fringe FM. We are broadcasting on the Fringe FM, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. Looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037. Let's go to this phone call. Let's go to, I believe this is Justin in Michigan. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Nice. I'm a mind reader. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing good, thank you. It actually just says it on the call screen, so you told me. So I'm not really reading any minds here. But what do you think about this this weirdness, this transhuman stuff?
So what happens when my upgrade is better than your upgrade?
That's exactly part of the problem, right? And how maybe parts are not available,
does that make you inferior to me?
Well, exactly, which kind of how I brought up that eugenics a little bit earlier, right? Is that maybe at some point it becomes now eugenics in a technological sense. Like you're obsolete, brother. You're obsolete. I'm sorry. I've got the shiniest, nicest, newest parts, and well, you're just a jalopy, bro. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, right? It's a little bit weird. So you start thinking in terms of that, and we're talking about equipment instead of, well, okay, and let's even take it in the past year. Let's say that at some point you're a jalopy and you are now a non-essential. You see what I did there? You're a non-essential person and not even a person anymore. And so you're, put to the scrap heap, I don't know. Like there's some bizarre implications here. And I see the thing that terrifies me the most about all this is it's just another class system. It's just another separation of privilege versus not. And as we know, it's a small club or it's a large club and we ain't in it. And that's part of the problem here, right?
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, we're definitely not in that club.
And so
being lost forever in a vacuum cleaner is like, it's got to be my worst fear ever, I think.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. So, okay, so then with all the stuff we've been talking about.
Who gets to decide that? Does cancel culture get to decide who gets trapped in vacuums and who doesn't?
The mob decides. I'll bet you at that point it's your social.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Your social credit score. So the mob decides basically. Yeah. I don't know. Again, like we're lining up this bizarre dystopia that we're headed for full speed ahead on a runaway train and nobody's talking about it. And that's the thing that drives me most insane about all this. Like, why the hell's nobody talking about this? Like AI and all, like there's a whole lot of other problems that need to be addressed. And our stupid legislators or the leaders, our fearless leaders are just doing one dumb thing after another, day after day after day, not even looking to the future. It's so stupid. So stupid. So let me ask you then.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, would you trade parts of your body to live for 1,000 years? And if that's the case, if you would or would not, how much of your body would you trade?
Probably more than likely limbs for sure.
Okay. So then limbs, no problem.
I guess it gets into the point of where or not, if the anti-aging gets to the point where that actually works, do we just need to replace our internal organs at that point? And will our brain live forever, or will we all just end up with dementia and being like lost in the abyss, walking around in our underwear?
And doing terrible things. No. Okay, but here's the interesting part. So let's say that we were able to swap out your organs and your arms and legs and whatever else, and you're able to just live like a normal life. So like you said, the dementia and that type of thing as our brain decays becomes a problem. But what happens, they say it's plaque on the brain. What if they find a way to like a maintenance type of going to the dentist situation for your brain? They're able to just remove that plaque, once every decade or so, and it just keeps you living forever. Or there's the other option of where at some point, if you live to be 500 years, then they can just download your brain and then move you into a robot anyway.
I think I would just join the vampires. Live 100 years, sleep 100 years, live 100 years, sleep 100 years. just relive my whole life over and over again.
Yeah, it
that
is
would
an
be. I would
interesting.
think that would be the only way to do it. If you're gonna live forever, I mean, unless you can live forever like that, I don't know if that's possible, but it might be.
Yeah, but so it does seem to be a thing then, right? If you allow like the human, like we're our entire life where we're.
I think if you allow yourself, you could live forever. Yeah, I think your quest for knowledge and just wanting to know more would you would just turn into space dust, I think, or pure energy at some point, maybe.
Well, hopefully that's the ascension or whatever they call it, right? The as we move into the next phase of whatever that is.
Or death. I mean, well, death is obviously the ultimate, experience.
Yeah, the end of it anyway. The end of this mortal coil, as they call it.
Well,
but yeah,
the end of what we think is the end, right?
Right, exactly. But so terrifying, right? I think, and again, so what do? We can't feed the people on the earth now, like I said, whether you chalk that up to artificial scarcity or, just the political will of our terrible, what would you call them? Terrible, fearless leaders?
I don't know about you, Michael Strange, but I'm sick of living with half of the people around here, and I'd gladly blast myself off to Mars with Elon Musk if I could.
Nice. So there you go. We got a brave soul that would go to Mars and maybe a new start.
Yeah, I'm 100% on my way there.
Nice. And you know what the cool thing about that is? We're kind of at the point in the next 30 years. Maybe we end up there and there's people living up there. Maybe you get a statue of you on Mars for all eternity. That would be sweet.
Yeah. Just like a Futurama episode.
Exactly, right? Like a bad one, but we'll take it anyway. We'll take it. But okay, so
exactly.
So you would give up your limbs for sure, but once you start talking about organs and you may be up to your brain, you have a problem with it, eh?
Well, I don't know. Then I guess it all becomes a consciousness question and whether or not you obtain, who you really are, I guess.
Yeah, and what we want. Again, back to the individual.
And at what point do you stop becoming who you are and just the vacuum cleaner?
Exactly. Trapped. Imagine like a bad episode of I Dream of Jeannie, and you're trapped inside of the vacuum cleaner as the genie. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
There's your future.
Terrible.
There's your dystopian future. Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, why is nobody talking about this? And this is one of those things that's creeping up on us, and I think we should be talking more about it. Anything else while we got you on the phone, my friend?
There are a lot of things people don't talk about, and that's why I tune into this show. It's because this is my escape to listen to the things that no one else talks about.
I appreciate that. Somebody has to, right? Somebody has to, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
exactly. Thank you. And you've come a long way in the past, however many 2.5, 3 years it's been.
Thank you. Clearly, I've worked very hard, which is
yes,
all good.
You have. You show up on my TV now. You never used to do that before.
Nice. How about that? Michael Strange made it to the television. The brainwash is real. All right. Final thought while we got you on the phone, my friend.
Oh, nothing. Enjoy your night.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate you listening, calling, being part of this.
Yep.
It means a lot. Have a great night, my friend.
Yeah, everybody, it's that easy. You just gotta dial the number, man.
Dial the number 702-957-1037. Thank you, Justin from Michigan. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Put you on the show. Simple as that, right? Look at that. That was painless. 702-957-1037. We got about 15 minutes left on the fringe. We're talking about transhumanism tonight. And what does it mean? What's it mean for the future, right? Like I said, I could lecture and read from articles, and I even got audio clips to play. It's just less fun doing any of that because I want to hear what you guys actually think. Number one, do you think it's terrifying that in the near future, somebody said, I think Michael said in the chat, in the next 20 years, we're going to be faced with this? The prospect of living forever, maybe not forever, but let's say kind of forever. Let's do it that way. And does this make you scared of what humanity may become, right? And again, you can go to science fiction and look at some of these other things like, again, Star Trek, The Next Generation with the Borg. And look what happens when they have a technological species that assimilates all of the individuals into a collective. And just like Justin said, who controls it? The mob. The mob, social credit score, the cancel culture of the Borg. I don't know. Yeah, this stuff is a little bit creepy to me that nobody's talking about, nobody's thinking about, but here we are doing it. 702-957-1037. Let's see. There was another article I had too that kind of rounded this all out. Where is it? Let's see. Oh, here we go. And this is exactly right. This is from Mercatornet. What is this? Mercatornet, Navigating Modern Complexities. And this is a fantastic website. I just found this tonight, and kind of looking into this and what this actually means, the transhuman stuff and what's going on with this. But I couldn't agree more. The headline here reads, "The transhumanist quest for a godlike humanity threatens personal freedom." And just like Justin said, when you're tapped in, connected to the internet, you have the latest Elon Musk gadget, let's say Neuralink 75.6 plugged into your head, and these bizarre tattoos. Oh yeah, the other tattoos. So there are. I mentioned the Gatorade one earlier, right? The Gatorade wearable that tells you when you're thirsty. Okay, a little bit terrifying. There are other ones. There are tattoos that glow, like LED glow. And so you could get these tattoos that are done up that are kind of stitched into your body that glow, all right? It's a superficial type of, hey, look at me. I glow. I'm glowing today. But for real, right? That's another thing. But then there's a third. There's a third thing I found today. Let me see if I can find this. But here we go. Let's talk about this one real fast, and then we'll jump into that last bit. Again, rather talk to you guys if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. But it is a problem, right? How do you compete? How do you compete with an ever-expanding technological, I guess you really wouldn't call it a singularity, but it might be at some point, right? But how do you compete, right? Now it becomes just like we've been saying, the elites have the top technology all the time. And so just like now, right, they have access to all the resources. They can buy whatever they want to buy, including TV stations and brainwash centers and, whatever it is they're doing. Like they're doing the hell out of it. You just look into the billionaires of the world, right? They call them philanthropists. They call them philanthropists, right? And sure, maybe that's the case in a few examples. But for the most part, they're like trying to push their agenda on the rest of the world by pushing money around, right? And I think that's where we're here. That's where we're looking at. And as this continues and people are able to live forever in, quote, forever-ish, let's say, that we have a problem with the haves and have-nots. The elites have the best equipment and gear plugged into them, and they're able to do whatever they want to do. And then again, you become the jalopy obsolete junker that is marked for recycle. Recycle. You become a non-essential individual at some point, right? Yeah. And so that's just like this. At Mercatornet.com, the transhumanist quest for a godlike humanity threatens personal freedom. And that's why. Transhumanists insist that their vision of the radical bioenhancement of human capacities is light years removed from prior eugenics, which was state-managed. Decisions about how far and even whether to enhance oneself and one's children to be would stem strictly from personal discretion, right? That's what they say. However, since autonomy is retained, indeed, powerful biotechnologies would offer individuals marvelous new avenues for its expression. Transhumanist vision fits squarely within liberal democracy, or so we are told. And of course, right? Of course, this isn't the case because, again, imagine a world where we have half the people plugged in to an enhanced experience, and then we have half the world that rejects it outright. How do you qualify that? How do you value people versus kind of people? You see what's happening? This is not, again, and then the choice matter. As always, the choice matter, right? How do you compete? Let's say at some point everybody's, working code, right? Well, if you've got like a Neuralink implant and you're a coder or whatever, you're a remote coder, kind of a real-time debugging, I don't know, something on Mars, right? From Earth, right? On like a computer panel sort of thing, right? Whatever. Imagine the future. Travel with me into the future in our imagination here. Now, if you got the super fast mechanical bionic fingers and you're just smashing those keys, well, you're not even doing that anymore because, of course, it's plugged into your brain, right? And you're just kind of writing code with your brain, kind of like Elon Musk and the monkey playing video games, right? That just happened recently. So you're just writing code with your brain. But if you don't have the brain enhancements, how do you keep up? Right, of course, because productivity, things like this. Anyway, there's problems here. There's problems here. I don't know. I think if you ask me, it scares me. Because again, all we have to do is look at the way the media runs today and how they try and divide us every single way possible, right? And because, of course, the reason they do that is because if we agreed that the government sucks, we'd all stand up and make them change. But we don't. We fling poo at each other on Twitter, right? We argue with strangers on the internet over things that probably don't even matter. It's almost like this has all been planned and we're falling right into their trap. Weird, right? Weird. So I don't know. If you ask me, this terrifies me because it's one more way to divide and subdivide people based on access to resources or not. And then, of course, the eugenics. At what point are you obsolete? When we have the obsolete now, well, we see what happened this past year. I don't even have to tell you. Essential or non-essential? Not going to get into that. I could, but we were talking about it a year ago plus. So there's no reason to rehash all that. But it's demeaning. It's dehumanizing in and of itself, calling people non-essential. So imagine if you're a junker, you got a clunker, you're the old technology, and they need your carbon fiber bits to be recycled to give to, I don't know, Bill Gates, who's still alive 1,000 years from now. Well, or his kids, his progeny, his 22,000 kids that are all still alive at that point. I don't know. I don't know. Crazy stuff here. Interesting things to think about and talk about. Like I said, I think if you put me to it, I guess it would depend, right? I guess it would depend. How many people do I have depending on me? Let's say I'm facing the mortality question and the mortality situation. And, like have I accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish in life? Those are the questions that would go through my mind, right? Is what am I giving up? What do I leave behind? But again, so a further reality that goes for, I don't know, 1,000 years, an additional 900 years, let's say. How much would I give up for that? I think the question itself is mortifying enough that that's why we're talking about it tonight. It's kind of one of those things that may come up sooner rather than later in our lifetimes, like they said, like that article that I cited just a little bit earlier, where they said that the aging expert says the first person to live to 1,000 years has already been born. This is from Dr. Aubrey de Grey, and this individual believes that this is the case. We're already in this new future, this modern dystopia. Futuristic dystopia. I don't know how you want to actually define it. There's so many definitions that you could swap in and out of here. And I didn't even talk about 1984 tonight. I didn't even talk about 1984, George Orwell. But I'll tell you what. There's some implications here, right? We talked about in the last couple days on the news show about Ring doorbells and the surveillance state, right? Talking about 1984 just a little bit. So imagine when everything about you is mechanical and you've been tied into the grid, as it were, into the internet. The Neuralink of the 2250 or whatever the year is literally hooked into your brain and you're connected to the internet. And they're able to download the things you think and play them on a video screen. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. This is what we're talking about. This is where we're at. And again, right? Like our crappy politicians not looking to the future, looking to re-legislate the past like they can change some things. I think they need a time machine because we should send them back there and leave them there, in my opinion. My humble opinion, but what do I know? What the heck do I know? I'm just a knucklehead on the internet with a microphone. But all right, so we're about to finish this up. We'll go for a third hour on DLive, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you guys are listening there, hang tight, and we'll do a third hour. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, right after this show, in the next couple minutes here, you'll get Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. And then after that, you'll get Ryan Gable, The Secret Teachings. So hang tight. Fantastic shows there. Great guys. I listened to them. I've always listened to them for a very long time. I've learned a lot from those guys. And if you guys don't know who they are, you're here listening to me. Stick around, listen to them. Definitely good stuff. Definitely good stuff. But at the end of it, I don't know. Like, how do we do this? How do we make all of this better? I mean, we're just talking about it. But I don't know, like, how do we make our society care about these things when it seems like our society only wants to look at the past and fix the sins of the past as the sins of the future are racing at us full speed ahead? There are questions that need to be asked, and nobody's asking them. And that's why you're here. And that's why we do this. That's what's been the premise of this show all along. There aren't many answers you'll find here, but if you ask the right questions, I think it does get you closer to those answers. Yeah. I don't know. I do know it terrifies me. All right, we're done. Hang tight for Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. This has been Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Guys, we are off the Fringe. We are looking for another hour here. We're talking about transhumanism. I think Bailey had a great point. Any non-human existence they offer for the future surely seems like the devil, does it not? KO says demonic. But what do you think? As always, love to hear what you guys think about this stuff and what's going on with any of these things. And we're just hanging out, doing our thing. We'll do one more hour here. If you guys have, we have extended time, no commercials now. So let me take a quick 2-minute break, tuck in the kids, get yourself a drink, Grab some popcorn. We're going to do one more hour. We're talking about transhumanism. And we're going to be reading some chat and catching up with that. 2 minutes. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Back to Troubled Minds. We're here just talking about transhumanism and what does this mean? And again, what would you give up to live for 1,000 years or more even? What does immortality mean to you? And again, as always, if you guys want to be part of the show, love to hear from you tonight. You know what I think. I'm kind of going through some of these articles. I'll get to that other tattoo in a minute too, that I didn't quite get to as the other show ended, the end of the fringe part. But there's some bizarre things going on with this. There's some weird stuff as these technologies continue to kind of come out of nowhere, right? I just don't know. I don't know. I don't have answers to these things, but they do concern me, which is why, of course, we're talking about them. So, as always, that's the theme of this show, immortality, living forever, and all the rest of this. And what does it mean? And, what does it mean to be human? If you can live forever, are you human at all? Kind of use the vampire example. And like Justin said there, I kind of agree, right? It would be nice to maybe live a lifetime or two and then maybe take a lifetime off, like put me on the shelf and then wake me up in 100 years, just because it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I think part of being human is that pressure, that time frame that we only get this much time. And, I think it's definitely one of those weird situations, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So if you guys want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. I've got this guy. This dude, I got some clips here I'm going to play from. His name's Andres. No, what is it? Andres Sandberg. Yes, Andres Sandberg is the guy's name. And he's talking about some of these problems, right? Like kind of we were talking about. And I was going to play some of these clips during the show, but it's harder because it's a time constraints and you get a couple calls, which is fine. Again, I'd rather talk to you guys. So please do call 702-957-1037. But it's kind of a longer little bit of a narrative here. So I'm going to play some of this. This is from Andres Sandberg. Hold on. Terrible. See, that's what happens when you're a bad talk show host. You don't know what the name of these people are. Anyway, all right. So here we go. Let's play this. This one's better. Now, this is from Misinformed on YouTube, and it's called Transhumanism. Now listen to this. Listen to this. I'm going to play this and part 1, action.
Transhumanism, invented soon, if I have anything to say about it. Transhumanism is the pursuit of advancing humanity beyond the trash existence we currently inhabit. Does that mean fighting for widespread societal reform, a war on poverty, addressing the existential threat of global warming? Fuck no. It means mass-produced consumer-grade cybernetics to make everyone's life perfect, baby, which may sound like a pipe dream, but think about it. People have been using technology to overcome their own physical limitations for literal millennia. There once was a time when, if your cornea decided to be a prick, that just was how it be. You would just have to shrug it off and be like, okay, I guess shit is just blurry. That is until some genius came along, slapped some new high-tech device on your face, and now all of a sudden everything is in 4K with ray tracing. Have you ever considered the fact that people with hearing aids are objectively superior to you in the fact that they have full conscious control over their sense of hearing? They can just turn that shit off middle of a conversation, be like, you know what, fuck you, I'm done listening to whatever bullshit you're talking about, just mute you. So, if we can overcome such petty things like not being able to see or listening to dumb shit, then why would we not be able to overcome the small hiccups in life like losing an arm or death? The answer is that we can overcome those things, and not only those things, but every single problem that humanity faces can be solved through mass cyberization. You think I'm bullshit, and look at this. You know who can't get infected with coronavirus? People with robot lungs. Pandemic's over forever. Life expectancy shoots up to like 200 years. Unfortunately, you still gotta live with your spongy flesh brain, so Alzheimer's is gonna get you eventually. Food shortages are a thing of the past now that people only need enough calories to power their brain, which is like 300 calories. The rest of your body can just be charged up overnight while you sleep. Men will no longer have nipples. Finally, sexism and transphobia no longer exist since now everyone can just swap out their cock and balls for a cooch or vice versa, literally with the push of a button. Racism no longer exists since now your skin color can literally be any color you can think of. If you're getting pulled
Okay, so I thought this was funny, so I played this, and I'm glad I almost cut this up and was going to play this on the show, at the radio, and this guy drops a lot of F-bombs, and he's funny. He's totally funny, and he's right. He's totally right. But this stuff is a little bit... Again, right? Like he's got some good points. He's got some good points here. He's doing it in a funny way, funny delivery. And again, this is from who is this? This is from Misinformed. He's got a YouTube channel and he's got some good funny content. Right? This is what this is about. But he's got the little thing here that says "Free me from this flesh prison," and it's kind of true. And that's what we're talking about tonight. And so, just like you said, right? You get robot lungs and pandemic's over. Right? Big deal. It can't get in because it's got to get into your nose and into your lungs, and once it does, the robots defeat it. And so anyway, pretty funny. I'm going to play a little bit more of this. As always, love to hear from you guys. What do you think about transhumanism and the rest of these things? And do you think this is worth talking about? I think again, like I said, it concerns me, and as part of being the quote troubled minds is. Because I like to talk about things that do concern me a little bit because nobody's talking about them. I think that's part of the problem. But this is funny. I agree. This is funny. So here we go. This is from let's play a couple more minutes from this. This is from again. Oh, damn it! See the names mean my names. I can't remember. Misinformed on YouTube. Here we go. A couple more minutes, and he's talking about transhumanism and what this looks like in the near future.
Over and you're currently wearing the wrong complexion, just quickly switch to green, like some kind of skinwalker, so you'll just get off with a warning instead of a bullet. Global warming is no longer an issue when we can just give everyone some cybernetic gills and build new underwater societies. You can replace both your arms with flamethrowers at will. I can't really think of any specific problem that addresses, but it does sound like it would be useful in general. So obviously, giving everyone robot parts is cool and all, and would lead to a perfect utopia of happiness and prosperity for everyone, but why stop there? Since we've gotten rid of 95% of everyone's useless, pathetic flesh, now the only natural components everyone has are their brain and spinal cord, but why must our consciousness be trapped within there? If we wish to reach nirvana as a species, we need to remove our consciousness from our physical form and house them all in a massive solid-state drive that we built to replace the rings of Saturn. Within this massive hard drive lies the collective consciousness of humanity. It's got a nice little hub world like you'd find in any MMO, and also everyone gets their own personal hell, a dreamscape, for whenever they want to just vibe. Sort of like The Hunter's Dream or The Velvet Room, except instead of it being you, some geriatric, and a white woman, your dream is inhabited by the consciousness of yourself, your friends, your family, maybe a dog, throw in a baby monkey just to liven things up. From the super hard drive housing humanity's consciousness, you will be able to export your consciousness into a physical body constructed exactly to your preference. You could be anything. You could be a 20-foot-long turtle capable of flying through space at the speed of light, and then whenever you get bored, just be like, well, I'm done with this now, hit the off switch, and boop, your mind is back in the velvet dream, and you've added to the exponentially growing problem of space debris. Some of you might be thinking, in this future that I'm hoping for, if anyone can be anything, then wouldn't all forms of hierarchy and competition be rendered obsolete immediately? I mean, if anyone can just be 6'7" on demand, what's stopping everyone from having what it takes to play in the NBA? No. And also you're stupid, and here's why. Let's say you take your brain and you put it...
Okay, we're going to play a little bit more of this. But okay, right? This guy, you see what this guy's got a successful YouTube channel. He's super funny. But what's up, KO says, a demonic Saturn worship, never give up your soul. So yeah, let's go to the chat. Let's go to chat. I'll play the rest of this in a sec. But he's saying that, no, competition is not going away, and he's going to explain why. But funny stuff, right? He great delivery there on the video, and definitely fun. What's up? So let's see. We got... what's up? You can grow a lot of peanuts fast. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean, Jay? Peanut butter is good. What the hell? Axel, this is fun. He says, yeah, if there... What's up, Axel? Thanks for showing up tonight. Yeah, if there was one thing that can't get a computer... get a virus as a computer, right? That I think you meant can't. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, good thing that computers aren't susceptible to viruses, right? Pandemic over. You're completely right. But I think that's the problem. And so not only that, then you can engineer computer viruses to attack people. That's a little bit creepy, right? That's a little bit creepy. And yeah, so again, what do you guys think? How much of this? Exactly. I agree, Tim. That video is hilarious. So the thing is, that's the question tonight. How much of yourself would you give up to live forever, to live for forever-ish, because forever is just too long, right? It's just too long. And do you want to? Do you even want to? And you think it's a like swap your soul for a type of situation, like KO is saying there in the chat, like Bailey said a little bit further up in the chat. And that's kind of what I'm getting at is as you start to part your body out into different pieces and become more technology, at what point do you lose your soul? And again, right, we've talked, this is the alien show. We talk about aliens on this show. And, where we see tons and tons of weird things in the sky. You can go to those databases, like I said on Thursday when we were talking about this, and just look. And people are seeing stuff in the sky all the time. It seems to be accelerating even. But what does that mean, right? Is it possibly maybe a technological future where people are no longer autonomous? People are part of a Borg-like system, and they're actually coming back in time to see us, what it was like to be just a flesh puppet, a whatever the hell we are, right? Like an actual, like a mess, a human mess. Like we are a train wreck, humanity, and so maybe they're coming back to see what. Go back in time and check out what humanity used to be like. What a wreck they were, right? Them and their hashtag freedom, clowns. So who knows? Maybe the as some actual things say from the future, or maybe it's us from the future coming back to see a particular point in time just before these things happened, and people sort of lost their souls, right? What's up? Timothy says, you can't gain without sacrificing something. It's the law of the universe. And there you go. Tamron, what's up, says, what if you want to walk left and your bionic leg wants to walk backwards before you even know if you're doing? It fucking splits in the midair. Yeah, right? Well, especially if they gave you a computer virus that took control of your legs. You would be that guy or that gal, as the case may be. All right, so here we go. We're going to go to one more. Philip says, you only lose your soul when you swap your brain in pineal gland for a hard drive. That's what the soul goes by. All right. Good stuff, guys. We're still talking about transhumanism and what it means to you. And we're going to go to Kelly. Kelly, my friend. Kelly from Colorado. How are you, sir?
All right. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm thinking about living forever. How about you?
I wouldn't go that far, but I would do. I would say this. I would like to do at least 5 to 1,000 years.
Yeah, right.
I mean 500.
Yeah. Like some.
Yeah, because I mean, just if, to end this real quick, you know what I mean? If we're talking about, because nothing lasts forever. Nothing. Even if people, that's what I would like to say is that the one thing is that people that want to do, if they would want to go full bionic, even their power system wouldn't fail at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, no, there is no forever. I'm with you. Exactly right. Nothing lasts forever. Period. Even the universe won't last forever. So forever is a ish term. So yeah. So, but you would. Yeah. So you would actually go from say 500 to 5,000, something like that. You'd be willing to maybe sacrifice parts of your body to maybe turn into that future, huh?
No. I'm not sacrificing anything. This is the thing. This is one reason why I wanted to call in, because people like that, I would say that want people to do that would be, they try to push that, and you're going to have part of society that still wants to do that. You know what I mean? There's everybody that wants to live a different life and try it out, see what's up with it, and you'll have people that want to, there will be, there's millions of people on this planet. Of course, there's going to be somebody who wants going to try that. You know what I mean? But if most people I would say that's like a controlling thing, like that guy would say, that was the one that you're mentioning, that, that's the devil. But I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I don't believe in or any kind of religious thing. But the point is that if that was offered to you, I would not even go down that route. The reason for it is because, before I go into that, I'd like to just say the reason why you would even get into that is because if you would go into space travel, that would be a good usage, or medical field. And, using some of that stuff in the medical field, people were talking in chat about a patches or something like that, or you were earlier about, they could tell you when you needed some more Gatorade or whatnot. But that's more like the medical field. But, you get these people that are in eugenics, they're going to try to wipe out humanity some way or another. You know what I'm saying? They're not really looking into helping all the people out, because if you're going to have, lifespans that long, there's only one, you kind of would have to have a limit on how many children everybody should have, right? Because if not, especially if you're going to stay on one planet itself, because having that many people that live that long is going to be that's kind of an issue. So the only issue that I would say that you would be able to or should be going, age that long is if you're going into space. You need to start populating other things. But as a society now, people say we're not ready, but they're just all the governments and everything else is, from birth all the way up, they're trying to poison you, destroy you. Make you like society stupid. People are opening up to that. I think the awakening is happening. But so to go into the further saying, 5 to 100 to 1,000 years for me is because I think they could already have it. Like say, you have issues with an organ or something. They already have that stuff you can replace it with, like 3D printing and shit. If people could go look at on YouTube. It's called, TEDMed, and just put on their 3D printing when they first did it. This is like in the early 2000s, but they were doing 3D printing kidneys, right? And we talked about this about a while ago on a couple of shows. They took the outer skin cells of the organ and the inside of the skin cells, and they had like this material type thing that's kind of 3D printed into a shape of a kidney. And then, they would exercise in and you could replace it because you're not going to have any issues with it because it's your skin cells. The reason why people have, with problems with, organs being transferred one body to another is because it's not your organ. You always have to take medication to support life for yourself. And that's not really even a way to live, just give you a part-time thing anyway. But yeah, 3D printing, if you want to go check that out, TEDMed, they do but to transfer your consciousness, I mean, you have to think about, when I think about that into like another body, right? You kind of have to think in mysticism and ancient part, you know. That's where I go into like ancient history and shit, and ancient, you know, writings and, you know, mythology, what people would call, but I call mysticism, because, you know, you have like in India, you have, or even other, you hear stories around the world where, you know, little kids, they saying they were reincarnated, and they can tell you their whole goddamn life. They had kids, they knew the whole village name and everybody, right? And I believe that consciousness can be, which is actually, you know, your energy, your life source, right? Or your people want to call your soul. You know, once that is you know, you can transfer that with you. Sometimes that consciousness does go with you. Maybe people just don't know how to use it. Other people can, you know what I mean? It just depends on, you know, if you go into that type of, you know, within religion, you know, let's go with the Hinduism, you know, they believe in that, you know, reincarnation. But, you know, you only here for a couple lives. You're, you know, to recycle till you learn, and then you're on to the next life or whatever. But, you know, and that's what Robert Bigelow is saying. He's actually looking for, you know, he's looking for that whole thing about, you know, the reincarnation and, you know, but who knows? You know, you get, you know, like I was saying earlier, you know, I go through the ancient stuff, you know, because you got some stuff, you know, like here's for instance, like if you want to, there's a thing I was reading in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I'll tell you, the listeners out there, it's tablet 13. It's called The Keys in Life and Death. Inside there, it'll tell you how Thoth can, you can actually slow down life. You know what I mean? I guess you know, the body, and then, you know, actually even try to reverse it. And we talked about that. I don't know. I think I talked about this one. I think when what's his name was still on there with you.
Yeah, Frank,
back in the day.
Frank, that was a long time ago. I remember that. We did the show on that, the Emerald Tablets.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's the one. I just wanted to give you guys the tablets, tablet 13. You know, keys of life and death. You want to just take a quick read through that. It'll actually he gives you clues and stuff, you know, ancient writings like that. But in there too, he transferred his body, you know, after he, you know, it's like he says he conquered death, right? And then he went out into the galaxy. So, you know, the galaxies out there, it's endless, you know. You could spend, I don't know how many lifetimes, or even what you call lifetime out there, just trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, and so you know what's interesting about all this too is so not just like the spiritual, like immortality is kind of what we're talking about, right? In some instances here, that like you said, if you go back to some of the ancient texts, somebody in chat mentioned, and I've completely forgot about this, but it's true that in the Bible and other ancient texts the world over, they say that a long time ago people did live for 1,000 years. Like I think Moses, right, was one that lived for 1,000 years, something like this. So they were already doing this a long time ago, and then something changed and we became corrupted at some point, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's one thing I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to quote on that too, because you know me, I also go into the Sumerian writing. Now in the Sumerian writing, right, which is actually the original gospel, if people want to talk about that, you know, that's before all religions, and that's where religions come from, especially the Bible, because that was passed down into Egypt, and then that's where Christianity got most of its stuff from, especially also, you know, Judaism and, you know, Hinduism. I mean, not Hinduism, but like the other religion, I can't remember right now. But anyway, the point is, it's all plagiarized, but plagiarized. And it's passed down, and those people, the Anunnaki, they live for thousands of years, you know, even on their planet too. But even then, in their writings too, they talk about the reason why they had to leave is to say, you know, the whole reason why is because after a while, they couldn't even produce children either. They had a problem with it. No, they had for generations, they didn't have any kids. But their long lifespan, they were trying to fix that before, they all died off. And, one of the reasons why was to fix their planet's atmosphere, and that's the whole reason. It's got to be more just, for their life, but, it was actually because they couldn't even have kids either. And also, like, if you go into, like, the Gospel of Thomas, which actually wasn't even in the Bible, inside there, they also have different things they talk about how powerful the human is. So, yeah, we can live. And if you go back in there, you talk about that stuff too. Like, again, if you go from the original Anunnaki story, you'll talk about where they cut off our lifespan. Humans used to live for thousands of years. And that's where I was talking about, if you go into scientific wise, they were saying that, you find these skeletons, right? And they got these big foreheads, or the eyebrow part where the bone is. Well, the reason for the thickness of that is because it's an age. When you age, like when an old man, you look at him, their eyebrow, like, the eyebrow ridge, they grow thicker. Something like that, to me, that's telling me that thing would live a long life, not just because, it was a structural shape of the skull, but if you look at that, and it's true, if you look at the growth of the skull and even in the human body, it's one thing you'll see on them, even older folks, is they'll have that bigger eyebrow on the top up there. So yeah, even in those stories too, again, you go, and then it's transferred into the Bible, or the Quran, Torah, all them. They'll all talk about giants, or how long they lived. Noah was supposed.
Hang tight, Kelly. Hold on.
Thank you for calling Troubled Minds. Caller ID authorized as a host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface. Show recording is on. Dual channel.
Sorry about that. Kelly, you're back. You're back. Yeah, sorry about that. My Google Voice dropped. That's why I hate Google Voice. It just drops randomly. So sorry, you're back, man. You got cut off for about 30 seconds. But carry on, my good sir.
Sorry, man.
No, you're good. That's my fault. My fault.
Yeah.
Sorry to break your train of thought there.
No, it's okay. I was just rambling on anyway, so
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I implore some of the people to look into other things besides, there's great leaps and bounds with technology and everything, but how do you use some of that stuff? You know what I mean? It's kind of like what people would say the grays are. They're a biochemical, or they're like a human body tissue or something, but they're they're programmable. That's what you would use if you were going to do, star systems, because just because you can travel the stars doesn't mean you can go down on each planet. You know what I'm saying? You could go down there and just the air alone down there could destroy you. You don't have the lungs for it. So what would you do? You would send something that's, pretty damn intelligent that can connect all this information that you need, without you going down there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. It puts us in a weird spot, doesn't it? All this stuff. So there's like these ancient knowledge. There's Michael says in the chat here that they only let us use 10% of our brains. Like there's a lot of good comments here, and a lot of like you said, the Anunnaki cut off the lifespan of people. People used to live 1,000 years or more, thousands of years. I don't know. Like where does it put us? Where does it put us? So if people are capable of that, then do you think that medically, or just let's say spiritually, or whatever it happens to be, that we should be able to live these thousands of years naturally? Or do you think that it seems like the easy way is, I use the term the devil, but it seems like that might be the easy way, right? You chop your limbs off and turn into a robot, and that's that, right? A little bit weird.
So, man, I tell you what, okay, so now I really want to get the whole point I'm trying to get at too is that it's in genetics, baby. If you want to find out, just go into our DNA. And I'm pretty sure since science ever occurred to where you can even look into a cell or, find out DNA strands, and even what we're finding now, I'm pretty sure every government has been looking into that shit. And if you want to know because in there, that's in every, even in the like I said, from Anunnaki to the Bible, the same story, just different names, right? Which one's older? Nah, but that's not the point. The point is that if you look in there and they tell you they cut off our age from 1,000 years to 120 year lifespan. Now, if you want to reverse that, you want to go into DNA. That's where it's at, genetics. And I'm pretty sure they found it. And, maybe that's why, we are amongst the stars right now, but, they need somebody to, to jump on board to be able to think about doing that. Because we really don't need to go into be a half robot and shit. Like I said, you got 3D printing, and if you really want to really, besides the mysticism that I'm trying to find out, because again, if it's all about money, if you got the money, I'm pretty sure you can live forever. And these people are sure well doing it. You know what I'm saying? If they can transfer, because that's what they're looking at. You know what I mean? Look, have the old body, the young body that they used to have, and all the knowledge that that they kept, they just learned throughout this lifetime, and trying to transfer that into something.
Right.
That is going to have to learn into mysticism, I believe, because you can't. There's no way you can do it through trying to download it on a disc and then insert into something. I mean, if you really think about it, come on, man. If I wanted to be an asshole, I'd just do an EMP bomb, and everybody that's a robot's just dead now. Retarded.
You're totally right. You're totally right. What's
yeah, you look at these cell phones. You can't even put it through a heart monitor or a pacer and shit. They tell you if you got the new iPhone, don't put it to a guy who's got a heart, one of those heart things. I mean, it's
pacemaker.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I got you. That makes perfect sense. So if you're, you know how they use the term when your cell phone dies, they say your cell phone bricked. It turns into a brick. That's what'll happen with people. They'll be bricked. They'll be laying there with like a mechanical arms and legs and like on the ground and can't move, but their brain will be working just fine. Bricked. It'll be.
Imagine if they could get everybody to do that, through even like a computer chip, without even having to like make you mechanical, just upgrade you somehow. That they saying that they have. You can tap into something, just make it into computer chips that run through your blood system, upgrade you, right?
Yeah.
But then if you're, if you allow them to do that shit, they can turn you on and off anytime they want. They can clear 4 billion as many people just like they say they want to do it.
Exactly right. Okay, so you think that we can live extended periods, but you think it's more of a like a mastery of like the physical body than is necessary for like the transhuman thing. Kind of like that. What was that monk guy that like meditated forever and like never had to eat, like that type of thing. So you like there's it's locked into our body, into our DNA somehow. We just have to find a way to release it, and we're able to do these things already. You think, right?
Yes, you can do that through mind, like you were just saying. Through the you learn that through a lot of the Asian culture, right? Through mysticism, and they believe that too. Like monks can put their hands through, when they hit the rainbow body, they can put their hands through rock and their feet through rock. They got pictures of the shit. Look like a handprint right through rock, like they melted it through it. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that's why if the Anunnaki can live that long, and they have the ability to do all kinds of stuff, and too, you have to really read these books. That everybody, they seem to agree that they're deciphered the exact same way, but it's just how some people want to disagree on some of the meanings. But it's telling you, it's just read it literally like a book. You know what I'm saying? And that'll tell you. But yeah,
it's out there. It's out there. It's possible. These things are possible.
Out there.
Yeah, agreed. So you wouldn't trade physical body parts for mechanical parts to live longer, though? Definitely not.
No, give me maybe like an upgrade on some hearing and some sight, maybe a little bit of strength. But as for that, you really don't even need all that. If your mind, because the mind is powerful, it could be just like Yoda. Look how small he was and how powerful he was, though. He was running through, because I believe, to me, that shit's real. If you really read about all these, I mean, and all the stuff that I've been reading through all the ancient texts and stuff, that shit sounds like the Force. That's what it sounds like. Like you controlling everything, runs through everything, which it does, all through harmony, through vibrations, frequency. Like our heart, our mind, everything vibrates with the Earth's frequency. That's what I'm saying. All you have to do is tap within that energy, and you don't even have to be huge. You don't have to be big. You be like Yoda, small. He looks brittle, but that dude will rip you in half.
and he did a hell of that. Hold on. Speaking of that, I just found this article. I actually pulled it out for the news show, and I was going to save it till next week. But this kind of fits in with exactly what you're saying. Let me read you just the headline of this and just a smidge. This is from thenextweb.com, and it's weird how you kind of you get some synchronicity with some of these things. And what you're talking about right now is exactly what this is exactly what you just said in a different way. So the headline is this: new research indicates the whole universe could be a giant neural network. All the universe is a neural network, and all the humans are merely nodes in that network. And so what you were saying is that the Force is real, like everything, like there's a something that runs through all living beings and connects us together. And this is just another way of saying it in terms of like say electronics, neural networks, right? Crazy stuff. Because
if all that's connected too, and people think it may not, because of an abstract object, but still, it was somebody's mind, or even somebody's mind to build it. Then the technology to build with such things, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all interconnected. It's just energy transfer is all it is, man. To an even solid object thing, people think the inanimate object's like a rock. Everything's energy.
Yeah.
It's just right now we're just sitting in, just like we were talking, even the other one. That's why I think they're messing with the, what is it, the gets? What is it, over in, where energy turns right into mass.
Oh, the Higgs boson.
About that.
The Higgs field.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, the Higgs field. Yeah, and CERN and all the rest of that stuff.
They know what they're trying to figure out. They're trying to master it. So and some people say it's playing being God, but maybe that's the whole point of everything is you're supposed to grow. You know what I mean? Even though that they say that this planet has died 5 times over, but still, you still have to grow. You got to try to get off. We have to get off planet. That's the whole thing. And because everybody seems all the problems that there might be having is nothing compared to everything really. That's how I try to keep my mainframe with everything within my mind. Is it's not really, because even our lifespan is a blink of an eye compared to everything that's going on in the whole movement of the universe.
Exactly.
So people just got to understand, yes, we're being poisoned. They're trying to dumb us down. They're trying to, and then when I say I'm trying to say that these things ain't human. And it again, through ancient history, it's telling you what these things even look like. That's my opinion. I mean, that's the bigger situation that I look at, because if everybody that say that, these people that have money and everything, yeah, to a certain point, I'd say you lose some part of your humanity, but to be that ruthless, I don't know, man. I don't know if there even are human.
Exactly. I agree. It's like that. There's that whole humanity thing. I was talking about to my family about this, and like the billionaire type of mindset is that when you become like the resources of what you control becomes so great, you are not human anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's like the human condition is part of that struggle, right? At least it's the modern part of that struggle. And so as soon as you're able to just like kind of drop those shackles off of your wrists and your ankles, you become something else. You become not human anymore because you control so many resources that you're almost like a demigod. I hate to use the term because it's clearly stupid, but you see, like people become not human, and I think that there's a danger there. for being human, there's a lot of things that define that fragile state of humans. And once you become above that, different from that, in those secret medical programs or whatever all this stuff is, you're just not anymore. You become something else, a monster, or whatever, however you want to define it. But it just becomes, I don't know. It's a little bit scary, and these are the forces we're fighting against. And so I get when people say, like you said, I agree with you. I'm not a religious dude, but I do believe that there's good and evil, and I believe there's a fight happening there. And these are the types of fights that we're kind of pushing back against, is these non-human entities that may be human, they just forgot how to be, a lifetime ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you would say, like, to me, I call them people lost. That's how I call them. You know what I mean? I don't say that they're lost or human in humanity. I just say they're lost. And the reason for that is because the whole point of what these people are doing, all the other gains, right? If you're doing it correctly and have your humanity, that's the whole point. You're supposed to get there, but you're supposed to not step on the person below you. You're supposed to reach your hand out and bring that person up next to you. You're supposed to help people over the wall, not bury them behind or build a bigger wall. You know what I mean? Sometimes that, just even the verbal words of some of the people, saying some of that shit is just, I can't believe it, man. If you think that over, millennia that we've already done this whole building walls, like the Great Wall of China, and you know what I mean? People did all, everybody had walls or fences, for protection. But that was a long time ago. That type of history that we should already have lost already. You know what I mean? It's just a fear mongering. That's something that people just have to drag out. You know what I mean? And people nowadays, it's all through social media, or I should say mainstream media, because that shit's all garbage. But yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, are they human? Because man, it's like, I don't know, man. Like you say, they act like they're a demigod. They're lost because you're supposed to help the next person up, not fucking drag them down or fucking beat them down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Who's saying that you're better than the next person because you reach there faster? It doesn't mean it's not a race, man. This is not a race. It's a long fucking run.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's the thing, right? Again, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a weird part of that. I guess, like I said in the Boogeyman episode, kind of the evil in the hearts of men. Like we're easily corrupted. I think that's part of the problem with humanity. Is that as these things change in our lives and we become more powerful in the corporeal world, let's say, we end up turning into monsters. And, I mean, even, Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, right? That seems like she's doing God's work, but it's like, hold on though. Like she's doing all kinds of like insidious shit behind the scenes with like her billions, right? And nobody goes after her for it. Nobody brings it up. But she's literally doing some like insidious shit with her money, And you're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That part is over. She's doing some insidious shit over in Africa.
Yeah, exactly. It's just sick. It's just again, we know it's a sick world, and we're just here trying to make sense of it. Yeah, I don't know, man. So transhumanism. So do you see the problems for the future clearly? Back to that, and you think that it's not necessary. We're able to do this ourselves.
No, I don't think it is. Again, I just keep saying it's in genetics, man. It's in DNA. If you want to figure that out, that's the only place it can be. Because if you can slow your lifespan down, and I'm not just saying, okay, if you slow your lifespan, that means even from the infant size, you're going to grow slow, right? You can't just, I'm not saying growing like being 500 or 1,000 years old and you got fucking wrinkled up, want to fucking just, you know what I mean? You're just fucking ready. You're just like an ectoplasm laying on a fucking bed, ready to kick over. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like, if you hit your DNA and you can find that life spark, and they already know what it is. I forget what it is. It's what gene it is. It's and another one where it's that gives a speech too. Is they're fused together. I mean the gene, the DNA number. I can't remember what it is right now. But yeah, if you go into there, man, it's in the DNA. That's where I say you don't even need to have all this robotic bullshit. If we do, like I said, that type of stuff should be used in space, and that's for planetary exploration.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what, like, just like you said, the Greys, maybe they've already tapped into this. I got a couple more articles to get to. We got a caller right behind you, so we're gonna keep on trucking here. Unless you want to stay. If you want to stay, we got James on the line just here. So you want to hang out for another?
No,
you good?
I can roll one up and go to bed.
Okay.
So you guys have a good evening.
I appreciate it, Kelly. Thank you for the call. Thanks for listening. Say hi to Michelle for us. God bless you guys. Stay safe. Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right, brother, man. Love you guys.
You too, man. Take care. Take care. Talk to you soon. There you go. Simple as that, guys. Look, Kelly, that's Kelly. He was the very first dude, as far as my memory goes back, he was the very first dude to call into this show, right? We begged the number, Frank and I talking to nobody out there, and Kelly called in. I'm pretty sure it was the Phil Schneider show. It's still up on the internet. Go back and fact check me. Fact check my memory. And Kelly was the first dude to call into this show. Pretty sure he was the guy. And he's been calling in ever since. He's been calling in and contributing all kinds of smart stuff. And there you go. It's as simple as that. You want to be a friend of the show? You just be it. You do it. Like you got information to share. I'm not a smart dude, right? Like I can talk circles. I can ask questions. I don't know the answers here. Otherwise, this would be the answer show. So we lean on you. Kelly started that trend way back. It was like episode 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's the thing. That's the thing. Looking to lean on you guys. Looking to learn from you. That's the most important thing. Looking to learn from each other. So thanks again, Kelly. Appreciate it. Longtime friend of the show. Again, at Tim in the chat, still active over there. Tinfoil Timothy University is Sherry in the chat. You guys, I'm reading you. Philip, KO, what's up? I see you guys out there. I'm reading the chat. I just can't. You can't do all the things at the same time. Let's go to Jay in New York. Jay, how are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic, Mike. You're right. You can't read the chat and listen to the show and keep up with the conversation in that because it goes by so fast.
I try, man.
It's crazy.
I try my best, man, but you just can't.
It's hard. I'm trying to figure out how to get the kids tablets so I can watch like 3 or 4 things all at once just to keep up with all of it and then check on the links.
We're not built like that, brother. We weren't built in that generation. It's ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm old, I've got like 3 old decommissioned tablet or iPads that hooked up to the Wi-Fi to try to click on the links and stuff like that. I don't have a computer.
That's okay.
It's bad.
That's okay,
but,
man. You're allowed. You're allowed. What do you think about this transhumanism stuff?
I don't know if I'd be into that. You're messing with God and Mother Nature and whatever you believe. I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but when you die, you go on. Back to the ghost things that you talk about in the other shows, and there's a time for all of it. I think our purpose here is to expand knowledge on the people that surround us. You're giving us information. The other people that call into the show are telling us that. Look at it this way, look at it that way. We're in a weird place right now. It just seems like something unbelievably huge is going to happen. Are we going through all what we're going through right now for the 2 weeks to stop the spread to prepare us that, hey, everybody's got to hop on this little boat right here. We're all going to Mars because we're screwed. Thank God Ash is there because he's got the, green beans and spuds planted in 2.
We got a friend there. We got a leg up when we show up. Yeah, we got a friend there. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. It's again, right? I think it's literally the most pertinent point tonight is that being human is a definition, there's a definition of what that means, and it means we have a particular amount of time, and some of us have longer, some of us have shorter, and that's part of it, right? Like the part of it is you never know what tomorrow brings. That's part of being human. And it's anxiety built into that. It's hope built into that. It's all these things built into that. It's part of being human, It's what makes us what we are. It's all of the, all the terrible things that happen and all the good things happen. They're all a result of that weird juxtaposition of you never know what tomorrow brings, right? But given all those things, once you start swapping out body parts and organs and all the rest of this, are we human at all? The temperament.
Well, are you really you?
Well, exactly. As it starts to change, exactly. So the definition becomes something else entirely.
Tuned into Google, 24/7.
Yeah.
Ask a question, you already know it because you got the little Elon Musk, episode 75 or whatever it is in the back of your brain, and everybody else that doesn't have any money is only working on 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just. That is a slippery slope, my friend. A very slippery slope.
It is. And again,
but I mean,
nobody thinking about it, nobody talking about it, and here we are in the middle of the night.
Can we disagree about it? I mean, you want to say no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say yes, I'm going to do it. All of it.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing my mask anymore. I take my kids to school 4 days a week now, and the parents are 50% on the masks now. It used to be 100% at the beginning of all of it, but now it's 50.
And you know what?
Walmart,
they should be happy with that.
They pay for the... Go.
I just think they should be happy with, like you said, 2 weeks. Remember, it was 2 weeks to what was the term? I forgot the term. To flatten the curve.
In New York, it was 2 weeks to stop the spread.
Flatten the curve. That was the term.
My kid turned 4, and my kid's about to turn 5, and we're still into the 2 weeks to stop the spread.
A year later.
A year later.
And new strains popping out, and I get it, man.
Run back into your little bubble and play your games online and meet people and talk to people on the radio. Just so you know, I sat in the Discord link on the chat there for more than a little while today.
Okay.
And
we're going to work on that.
I don't know if I was doing it wrong or...
Yeah, you were doing it wrong. So I'll
okay, that's cool. Then that's cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Said.
I saw you there.
But,
so you were doing it wrong. So we'll get you figured out so you can use the Discord too. It's all good. This works.
Monochrome's helping me out. Good. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm going to find a way to send her my funk records, but it just. Why is it that hard? It should not be that hard.
It doesn't have to be. Sometimes.
Right. It doesn't have to be that hard, but. The thing is, though, is like Facebook is filtering comments now. YouTube is taking chat down.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What's happening? We're talking about stupid crap. We're like, what, a couple hundred people sitting in a bar drinking booze and talking about nonsense.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Who cares?
Exactly.
Well,
you figure it would be easy to write us off. But you see how dangerous thoughts are that they don't want to be prevalent. Those thoughts are dangerous.
That's what's scary.
Yeah,
that's
scary.
What's scary.
It's
That's
scary.
What's really, really scary.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe from Florida, Kelly, all these other guys, the last guy that called in and everything else like that, they're not talking a bunch of horse shit or anything else like that.
No.
They're just speaking their mind, and we're having a conversation about, well, let's really think about, we're going to dust the sky with particles to reflect the sun back into the sky when we want the entire world to go solar.
Yeah.
Because fossil fuels are bad.
Okay.
Let's
right?
have some dumbass conversations about this.
Dude, right?
Let's really, really think about what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you literally summed it up better than I ever
got
could.
accepted in schools for physics. I went to college for just a couple of years for physics, and then you don't need to know what I know. I mean, the professors start pushing you down a road or something like that, and I'm like, I'm not really interested in working on teaching people how to do that. That's dumb.
Right.
We don't need to know how to do that.
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
They made a black hole. You guys are making black holes in a lab.
I saw that.
I
like that.
Stupid to me.
I almost.
I did.
I almost did the show tonight on that, but I decided this was better instead, because one other thing. So I got one thing to get to just behind you. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to play the rest of that video. There's a couple more minutes, and I have an article that kind of reframes everything tonight into why I talked about this. So just to let you know, so a couple things to get to real quick. So let's get a final thought or two from you, and let's finish this up. We're kind of at the end here.
Gather all the knowledge you can and put it in your brain. Really, whether it's how to nail a nail into a piece of wood or grow a seed, and just put it up there. How to figure it out to get on the Fringe FM on the live chat.
Oh,
try to do it.
Jay.
Yes,
my friend. I'm gonna announce this tonight while I have you on the phone, because you have been the biggest proponent of getting this show on the actual radio. I've got an announcement to make. We've been picked up.
Fantastic.
With part of the Fringe Late Night with Joe Roop to be on an actual terrestrial radio station in Arkansas. And
awesome.
It's a trial run because, well, it's not really, everything's always a trial run because you got to prove yourself day to day to day. But
yay!
One radio station, and the owner owns another 10 radio stations. So exactly. So you've been pushing for that. You've been hoping it's going to happen. I told you, if we do it right, I think Joe Roop has got our back because he likes the show. He appreciates all of you guys. He tells me all the time. He's like, Joe Roop is the owner of Lighting the Void. He runs that show. He's on right now on Fringe FM. He says, hey, clearly you do a good job, Mike, but the crew you have and the people that call in are amazing. The input they actually kick into this and the love that you feel for this community, he's like, it's amazing. And so that is for all the rest of you guys. So I appreciate, again, like I said, when I ask for calls, I mean it. When you guys call with thoughtful things, I mean it. I appreciate it. So thank you. We're there. We're going to be on the actual radio in Arkansas. It's starting on March 5th. They're going to start working us into a rotation with Joe Roop. It's going to be called Fringe Late Night, and it's step 1. And yeah, so we will be on that. I'm glad I can tell you while I got you on the phone, my friend. I'm glad I can tell you while I got you on the phone.
Now, if you could just give me that P.O. box so I could send you a gift card for you and Mrs. Strange and the puppy.
I appreciate that.
I would.
I appreciate that.
I've been going everything, but that's one of the things that bugs me is I want to send the guy $5 a month,
and it's so hard to do.
I don't want to put I don't want to put my personal credit card information out there on the internet because
tinfoil hat.
I got in trouble one time.
Tinfoil hat. Yeah, no, I got you.
I know how to take that stuff away.
Yeah, I understand. All right, hold on.
So
hold on. Jay, will you talk for 30 seconds? I'll walk over, I'll grab my key that's on the thing and give you my P.O. box right now. Give me 30 seconds.
That's awesome.
All right, talk for 30 seconds.
I think it shouldn't be that hard to take care of things.
It shouldn't.
We're not even talking about things that are bad. We're just having a conversation about whatever you put in the caller queue for the day.
Keep talking. Be right back.
I didn't even know anything about this subject today. I had to read the thing that you put up in the beginning of it and everything else like that, and it was like, wow, that sounds a little bit like the Bible, maybe. Like when you're done here, you go on somewhere else. It's just odd that it makes it unbelievably hard to just do what you want to do that you think is right. And you're not allowed to talk to people anymore. You're not allowed to congregate and things like that. And it kind of bugs me that you find some guy on the internet with a microphone who's doing a show, and yeah, I'll buy the $5 little token on the Discord and send them a thing. But you have to give up all your personal information and stuff like that to do it. They're putting us in...
It is transhumanism right now.
One of the things that I'm really curious about, Mike, is if tonight's show, because I called in, you get a Q tag.
Yeah.
Because I went back and
now
I was going through the YouTube
You said it. You said it. You said
I
it, Jim.
talked on and then I didn't talk on, and it seems like I remember calling in on that show and he's got a Q tag. Am I a Q tagged guy? And just because I'm calling your show, you're getting Q tagged because of me?
No. It's we've been targeted. What's up, Christopher? I see you on Facebook over there. Nah, man, we've been targeted. Okay, I've got the key right here. You got to. Hold on. I'm not going to make you write it down. I've got the key in my hand for the PO box. I'm going to put it in Discord as soon as we're done. Okay, it's in my hand, so I have to do it before I got you. Okay, but I got a PO box for you. I put it in the Discord. I'll tag you. I appreciate it, Jay. You're the best. Thank you again. Jay and everybody else, thank you so much. Like I said, we would never have got here without all of us. All of us. That's what this is all about. This is a community, and notice that people are noticing how smart and engaged and inquisitive and just
nice.
Just how much love is here. How much love is here.
Nice.
It's good, man. It's good.
We're just nice.
It's good.
To
We're
each
nice.
other.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're good to each other. Jay, I'm going to keep on rolling. Got 2 more things to get to before we finish up. I appreciate it. You were the man. God bless you and the family. Stay safe, okay?
God love you.
Thank you, man. You too. Talk to you soon. There you go. I will post the P.O. box if anybody wants to send me something. Jay has been really dying to get the P.O. box, so I'm going to get that to him. There you go. Smoke one with you, Mike. What's up, Kelly? I see all the congrats in the chat there. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that a lot. So, yeah, we will be on a rotation with Joe Roop on what they call Fringe Late Night starting at KFSA in Arkansas. It's a college town, and they want late night paranormal type conspiracy radio, and that's us. So we will be 5 nights a week. They're going to take different hour blocks of us and send us over there. So you never know which hour is going to be broadcast on their show, because they'll pick an hour here, an hour there type of thing. But we will be on actual terrestrial radio starting in Arkansas. It's a network of stations, and we're starting on one station. If we don't screw it up, I'm pretty sure we'll move to some bigger things. So amazing, right? Unbelievably amazing. Never, I don't know. I hate to say never, because never is a big word, but it's one of those situations where you don't think you get there, right? But what it means, I don't know. What it means for this, I don't know. I don't care. It's another milestone. It's another step in the right direction. And again, I owe it all to you guys for again. If I was here talking to myself, this never would have got this far. So this is us. Don't forget, guys, this is us. And this is the thing, right? So as we get larger and larger audiences, you guys were here from the start. And as you know, I will give you preferential treatment when it comes time to phone call. Because we might get a time where we get like just a board full of calls and people trying to get in all the time. Well, guess what? You guys were here from the start. I will take your call instead of some rando. All right? Just saying. Not to play favorites, but we're going to play favorites. Anyway, let's finish this up. I got a couple things to point out real fast. This is what kind of cemented this show for me tonight and made me do this instead of something else. What's up, NS? Thanks, Mike. You're my new Art Bell. I appreciate that. And I'll be on the actual radio. Like Art Bell. How about that? And you guys will too if you call. Also, pretty cool stuff, right? Here we go. This is from futurism.com, and this is new. This is from this month. This startup wants to tattoo brain-reading electrodes on your skull. Thought you'd never get a head tattoo? Think again. All right, so now look at this. This is exactly what kind of made me tip over into doing transhumanism today, because not only do we have Elon Musk and the Neuralink, we have the recent news of him doing the monkey with the playing a video game with his brain. He had the pig demonstration not too long ago. Now we have this, and this is crazy. A startup thinks that listening in on your brainwaves could reveal medical mysteries and perhaps even help connect your mind to virtual reality or video games. And it has an unusual plan to get access. Brain Scientific is developing what it's calling an e-tattoo. There it is, an e-tattoo that it can't. Remember, we started out with a wearable from Gatorade that told you when you should be thirsty. And now we have an e-tattoo that it can implant beneath someone's scalp with a robotic device that looks like a conventional tattoo gun got mixed up with the 3D printer. The e-tattoo, which is a series of tiny electrodes, each just a fraction of the size of a human hair, basically gets stitched beneath the skin through a mechanism that Baruch Goldstein, co-founder of and executive chairman of Brain Scientific, told Futurism operates much like a sewing machine. And as you can see, this is what made me do this tonight instead of something else like that black hole news. But anyway, so I just wanted to point this out real fast. This is kind of why we headed here. That weird Gatorade wearable. Then we have this. We have Neuralink, and we have the future and where we're headed. Right? Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So okay, all right. Let's finish up that really funny video. There's only a couple minutes left of this, but this guy was on a roll and it was hilarious. So let's finish this up and we'll finish up this show.
Put it into a robot body, which is a 1-to-1 physical copy of LeBron James. And then we have you play a game of one-on-one against the real LeBron. We'll call it Robo James versus James James. $200 per ticket to come watch. We'll make fucking bank. In this hypothetical, you would get absolutely blown out. It wouldn't even be close. I would be shocked if you managed to sink a single bucket. You know why? Because you can't fucking play basketball. Just because you have the physical ability to do something doesn't mean you can actually do it. I mean, look, there are plenty of men out there who have the physical ability to have sex and yet don't. Trust me, I know. So no, everyone becoming cyborgs would not suddenly turn everyone into elite athletes. Okay, sure, bodybuilding and powerlifting would be fucked as a concept, but other than that, we're fine. There are those who claim that going down this path would remove us from what it means to be human. We will have become completely separated from nature. Yeah, good. Fuck nature. What has nature ever done for us? All it does is give us diseases and tornadoes and giant hornets. So sick and tired of these fucking nature apologists. Also sick and tired of these fucking human apologists. Here's an indisputable fact. Every crime against humanity has been committed by one or more humans. Humans are the worst thing to happen to humans. Humanity has evolved past the need for humans. But fine, whatever. If you want to join the ranks of the Amish and be left behind by the rest of us, be my guest. Enjoy your flesh prison on this hellball. You may be concerned about the fact that if transhumanism comes about within a capitalist system, we'll end up with an even greater divide between the elite and everyone else, as they can afford top-of-the-line enhancements, whereas we just have to settle for whatever trash the market pushes out to us. To which I say, did I mention the flamethrower arms yet? Or you may be concerned that an authoritarian regime could make easy use of all these cybernetic components in order to accommodate mass surveillance and control over their population. To which I say, did I mention the flamethrower arms yet? Now I know what you must be thinking. Misinformed. Was this video just a disguised ad for Cyberpunk 2077? I fucking wish, bud. No. This video was an ad for my unironic worldview and the unwavering dream I have for humanity, and I hope my impeccable persuasion skills have brought you around to be willing to give up your humanity and become something much greater, like a giant metal space turtle. And now a word from some of my patrons.
All right. Once again, check this dude out. His name is Misinformed, and I'm subscribing right this second because this guy's incredible. There we go. Actually, wait, I'm on the wrong YouTube channel. Fuck it, I'm subscribing in with that one too. Misinformed is the guy's name, is that the YouTube channel, and that was hilarious as hell. I thought we had to finish that up because there you go. That's how you spit hot fire on the internet, because I am not that good because, well, I don't know. Maybe I should just drop more F-bombs. But that was really funny. Okay, but as we finish this up, we're going to be back tomorrow night. Don't worry. Well, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow night. We got a rampaging puppy here, and we're going to be able to. Don't worry, I'll be able to contain this little rampaging 6-pound ball of terror. But tomorrow night we'll have Ash. Ash, the reptilian from Mars, is going to be on the show, and tomorrow, to give you a preview, we're going to be talking about channeling. All right, and what does that mean? We're going to be talking about some particular instances and where that comes from. Channeling of the dead, the past, the whatever channeling entails is what we're talking about tomorrow. So there's your preview. You know what's going on. We had this set up last week, but Ash had to bail because he had that rover land on Mars. He had to go take care of things. So we're good. That's what's up. That's what's happening tomorrow. We'll be Troubled Minds again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll be on Fringe from 7 to 9, and we'll do an extra hour like we do here, or plus. Sometimes we go a little long. It's okay. I think that's the best part about doing the third hour kind of off the radio clock. We can just, if it goes long, it goes long, you know? There's no reason to hurry. We just finish up and say what we got to say. So there it is. That's what's happening. So tonight, transhumanism, something to think about. And thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Tim, for all the great calls. You guys are the best. I think that was everybody. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow doing the same thing, talking about different things as we do. Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. You're you. We're us, and together we are unstoppable. So let's play this, and let's finish this sucker up. Where is it? How about, let's see. Oh, I meant to, no, we'll do this. We'll do that tomorrow. I pushed the wrong button a couple times tonight. It's hard being your own board guy, right? Like the real radio guys, they get like their own board guys that smash the buttons at the right times, you know? No, not me. I got to do it all myself, but that's okay. I can juggle some things. You guys are the best. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. You're you. We're the best together. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., we'll have Ash on the show. We'll be talking about channeling. What does that mean? Aliens, the past, the dead, the future. I have no idea. We're about to find out. 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you there tomorrow. You guys are the best. One more time. Be sure, be strong, be true. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours. Thank you so much. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. And Jay, I didn't forget. I got the P.O. box right here in my hand. I'm typing it in Discord right now. Have a good night, guys. See you tomorrow.